Hello everybody and welcome. It's time for North America here at the PlayStation Tournament's Mortal Kombat 11 Fight Night. We were done with Europe earlier today and now it's time for, of course, our area, North America. I'm Wonder Chef, joined by Saki Sakura. I'm glad that we get to cast together once again.
Absolutely, I'm really excited, and just like you mentioned, was able to take part of the EU broadcast and enjoy all of those hype matches. But you know what, as we like to say, NA always the best at the same time, so excited to see if NA can top up the EU side of things.
That's right,
and
of course, right. You know, it's a long day. It's a long day. I think you were probably about 12 hours ago for EU. But yes, we before we get into this, of course, we have the YouTube that I've love to talk about. If you want to check out any sort of competitive either VODs or some like reviews of how things went over the month or just a bunch of different things, interviews, there's just endless amount of esports content over there. You can go to youtube.com/PlayStation Esports, and there's just basically everything that you could possibly ask for. Of course, you can watch this there as well, so be sure to check that out as we get through the day, or if you're looking for some tournaments in the future, which we're going to be talking about. But of course, today we've got our 8 players, so let's take a look at the format of how this bracket is going to be playing out. Open qualifiers have finished. Top 8 is now. We're double elimination, best of 3 until we get to the final 3 matches. The top 3, best of 5.
Absolutely, and also let's talk tonight about what that prize is looking like. So we got for first place $200, second $150, third $100, and fourth $50. Now, definitely, obviously, the whole point of these tournaments is you want to try to get to the win. It's an accomplishment for being in the top 8, but the real test lies in being in that top 4, because you're probably going to be going home with some money, and you want to make sure you solidify how much money as well.
Oh yeah, you definitely those matches to get into the top 4 are always the biggest in these tournaments. But we can take a look at which players we have today, and two of the players I did get confirmation are, their names are a little bit shorter than usual, but our first match of the day will be Ghost and Quicks, FGC. That's going to be Jet, formerly Jet Ring, and King Gambler, so that is a huge high-profile match for a first-rounder. Then Galactico Z1 VL3, which is a very long name to say the full one of, against Killa Cam, which I'm excited to see. You mentioned the Shiva before, and then the bottom, that is SVU Pain FZ, and then Osvaldo Diaz, now just Diaz. So a little bit shorter names on some of these players, but they are both extremely top players that have won plenty of these, and we've got some great names in this bracket so far.
Absolutely, and just a reminder to everyone at home, you can also compete on some of these shows today as well, and also future games in the future. Remember that you could go to compete.playstation.com, where you can sign up both on desktop, mobile, even on your very own consoles as well, so don't miss out on these chances. And again, it's not just about, you know, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter, it's also including some of those unique games like DNF Duel, which we were just talking about earlier. Shoutouts to that patch that came out today.
Yeah, I actually love DNF Duel, so I'm excited to jump back into that. I was playing it a ton, and Launcher got some buffs, so I'm definitely going to be playing that. But if you play DNF Duel, definitely sign up for these tournaments. It's a great way to play in them. But also, there is a Discord that you can join if you're trying to find some other people who do play games like DNF Duel. We're just going to keep talking about that. Or Mortal Kombat, which we're here for today. Or really any game, even if you're not really that much into any of the games that you've seen on here so far. There's plenty of players that just enjoy lots of different PlayStation games on there. There's a lot of watch-alongs. There's a lot of live little events that happen in some of those channels, and if you're trying to jump into the competitive scene, there's no better place to find some other like-minded players to get some of that early practice with, get some advice from. Just in general, it's a good community. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, imagine when we first started out, we've always kind of had to hunt down for those Discord, but PlayStation's just done a great job in really helping that search be less difficult than it needs to be, for sure. But talking about our first match, this is actually interesting because I think for Ghost, this is probably the first time we get to see this player actually show up here on the PlayStation Fight Nights. I've actually been, if this is the correct Ghost that I've been thinking about, has been appearing more in the regional / smaller majors, you could say, so like NEC, Texas Showdown, even KIT when it was running. Ghost, the Jackie player, 19 years old, from Baltimore, and of course you can check out their socials at PHF_Ghost with a 0 instead of an O.
And I have to point out, the players do fill out some surveys, and they can like put in like the greatest achievement and stuff like that. And this is one of the funniest ones I've seen. Because I got a Metafy lesson from Burrito Voorhees, and then beat him in the lesson, which is really funny. That's a pretty good one. But I mean, I'm a big Burrito Voorhees fan as well. So yeah, Ghost definitely a strong player. And Jackie, we actually don't see some of the Jackies that we're used to seeing in the bracket today, but the Ghost is going to be kind of taking that place. And Ghost's opponent in that first round is going to be Quicks. Sorry, I was trying to remember. I was blanking out. I remember that we had our high-profile like Mexico versus Mexico matches, but Quicks, who is listed, it's a player that I'm less familiar with for sure, is listed as a Frost player, and we have seen a few different Frost players kind of jump out more recently. We've seen, oh gosh, who is it? Omi in Europe, yes, play a good amount of Frost and doing pretty well. So Frost, we've seen can have some pretty good options against Jackie. I'm excited to see if that's the matchup that we are going to see.
Yeah, we actually saw Omi with the Frost pick a little bit earlier in the EU side of things, was actually using a very unique variation, Ice Augers with the Microburst. And one of the things that we were discussing with Ketchup at the time was the fact that it's the combo potential that you can get from Frost. Now, usually though, Frost will probably like most Frost players will be using just the Ice Augers and then go for something more like either the shield or whatnot. But I'm curious to see if Quicks is going to have that same idea. Ghost, again, one of the more up-and-coming players for sure. Recently, we were talking about it earlier, more of like the late bloomers per se. But here it is. If I'm looking at that variation correctly, I think we're going to see that Microburst and the Ice Augers with the Ice Dive as well. So that's going to be really interesting and a good time for Quicks, I feel like, especially considering that there's some good anti-air options from Frost that can stop Jackie in her momentum.
Oh yeah, some of the anti-airs from Frost are amazing. I do think this is actually the well, I mean, obviously there's multiple for everybody, but this is one of the variations or build loadouts that we do see Omi like to use. So it is that similar. It's going to be a lot of damage, and the biggest thing about Microburst is that it gives you a lot of unbreakable damage. So you can guarantee at least a pretty solid amount on every single grounded hit at least. But then you also get the ability to convert off of some other things with the Ice Auger. You get the ability to check that mid range exactly like that, which can lead to some crushing blows. But right now, Ghost has basically achieved the goal of getting the opponent to the corner, which is where Jackie always really wants you to be.
Yeah, backing up a little bit to set up Plasma, but once again closing in on that distance. And that Plasma is going to allow that throw to do 17% than the usual 15. And then here we go, great setup, actually going to use the interactable launcher, not going to get the full-on hit off of that combo, but this is pretty much dot damage situation, and the first round will go to Ghost.
Yeah, that would have been cool to see that get finished out with the interactable. I always say that I think that's the strongest interactable in the game, in my opinion. I mean, it gives you the command grab mix-up, you get a combo from it, you can use it defensively, and that's especially scary when you're Jackie, who you're never really worried about any sort of command grab options. Right now, though, I gotta say, Ghost is really just running this offense. Quicks has done a pretty good job of spacing, but hasn't found any real damage. And I think that's the biggest thing and going to be the most difficult thing, is you have to find some way to deal damage aside from just little hits here and there, even if you do get the anti.
Yeah, and also from Ghost, I'm not seeing exactly the bigger opties, more of like just being mindful of meter. But some of these interactions have been definitely in the favor of Ghost. Now Quick's actually able to start up some momentum here, putting Ghost in Fatal Blow territory. Now, what a down two. Excellent to call out some of the stalling on that leap. And I think Quicks, though, is going to get hit here. And yep. Oh.
That's all it takes. They were super ready too. They knew that was like coming. They jumped back so many times to try to get out of the range of that leap, but didn't quite get an air to air. Honestly, a great round, a great really turnaround round that came down to just not quite being able to close it out. But at least we get to see that there's like a whole lot of life there, right? There's like a whole real big fighting chance. That was one hit away easily. Like you mentioned, that down two was an amazing anti-air. Like being in a position to be ready to down two Jackie is not that common, especially when you're a character like Frost, who doesn't have the best down two in the game, maybe. So you have to be 100% ready, and that was what that situation was. The combos were landing, the spacing was working well. Just needs to now not get psyched out in the fact that that was a Jackie moment at the end of that game.
Absolutely. We did see a little bit of a pickup, especially with the microburst. That was that unbreakable damage like you mentioned. And I think if we get more of those situations from Quicks, it's going to be a better time. One thing's for sure though, Ghost has been really on top of, I want to even say like mindful of the hitboxes. Because if you notice, even when Quicks brings out the Ice Augers, that leap into the jump 2 has been really handy in avoiding them, as well as starting up the Jackie snowball effect, essentially. So, going to be interested to see. We also have another stage that is pretty good, especially with the interactable on that corner side for the plus restand. And here we go, already using the breakaway and getting some pressure going. And this is not going to be good for Quicks. Just the patience here right now.
Ooh, already in fatal blow territory, and also one of the, speaking of scary interactables, one of the scariest interactables in the game in this quarter in particular. That is going to be flawless. Didn't even need to use it, and we are now on match point for Ghost. Quicks needs to bring back whatever they had in that previous round, and then be able to close it out. They are getting some pressure going, so that's going to be good. But we actually haven't seen that many anti-airs, and that's a pretty big deal. You got to get something. The down 3 is good. The jab's great anti-air. The down 1 jab, I should say. The head, the down back 3, they're all good, but we just haven't found the opportunity to use them.
Also, there goes that restand. That is plus on hit, so you're gonna have to either jump or definitely block. Here goes the micro burst though, and allowing some good damage that Quicks has been needing for quite a while. And now we can see some of the pressure that we know and love from Frost. Very good stuff right now. Again, all of this is essentially unbreakable and taking turns on that interactable. It's now Ghost's turn to get hit with the flames.
And this is a great round again from Quicks. All right, I think we might be in a spot where at least you can. Oh, no, remember, it's just gonna take it. Of course, Jackie being a little bit less HP makes me always guess wrong on whether or not throws will kill. But that was a really great turnaround. Clearly, if Quicks can get some sort of offense going, then things are gonna go well. But that's the problem, is that's not the easiest thing to do against Jackie. And already Ghost is taking it back as far as momentum goes. Half-Life for Quicks, and still it's match point for Ghost. So gotta find something, gotta be the one to move in. Oh, that's actually not a bad trade, and that's gonna be a pretty nice little conversion. Not gonna be the unbreakable conversion you want because microburst wasn't available there, but at least damage is starting to even up a little bit.
Yeah, and with a character like Jackie that has 950 health, that can definitely lead up to it. But this is closing in. The dot damage, a great setup from Ghost. And what a performance for their first time here on the PlayStation Fight Nights.
Yeah, that was, I mean, honestly, again, I feel like if either of these players had the offensive kind of momentum, the lead going on, then they were doing super well. But it was just all about who can do it more and who can get into that position better. And it was Ghost. Ghost was just really taking control. A 2-0. Quicks, though, definitely should not feel that bad about how that match went. There were a lot of really good rounds. And things might have turned around a little bit more if that huge comeback with the Fatal Blow didn't happen. But again, that's just a Jackie classic. And so Ghost, undoubtedly, I feel like we're going to see them a good amount today, is if I had to guess.
Absolutely, and that does lead into Quicks going down to the lower side of the bracket. Most of the losers' side will be off stream, but definitely looking forward to seeing who their opponent's going to be. Speaking of which, let's check out the next match and the players there. Now, this one of my favorite players indeed, Jet Ring, also shortened now to Jet, the Joker main himself, also commentator as well as social. Jet Ring, you can find them on socials. And then, of course, from New Jersey. It's so cool to see, plays Joker, and probably will have that New Jersey accent to boot as well.
Yeah, Jet. Oh, I guess just Jet for today has been very successful in this series, but also, of course, their opponent has been extremely successful in not only this series, but I would have to say probably the entirety of NRS history, and that's going to be King Gambler. We were talking before, and I was saying, you know, probably I feel a good chance that King Gambler can make top 8 this upcoming EVO, but an extremely strong player in all aspects of the game, has been playing in so many online tournaments, so many offline tournaments, just doing every single thing to kind of rise even greater in his current MK11 career, which is already extremely impressive in many major tournaments. So King Gambler, I'd say probably, if we had to look at past results, maybe the favorite to win today, but we've got a lot of strong players, so that could go to quite a few. But just looking at results, I feel like King Gambler is the one to beat, but Jet's going to be a really tough first round opponent. This is actually a really scary first round. This has been actually almost definitely has been the grand finals of one of these tournaments before.
Winners finals at minimum, and then of course the grand final side of things as well. One thing to note though, I think that if you take a look at who thrives more on the loser side of things, has always been King Gambler, right? Like that's like King Gambler becoming Ultra Instinct King Gambler, essentially, and heading to the lower side with such a different mentality. And it's so crazy because it's like, it's one of those things where when you put a player in such a extreme, like, sort of situation, they tend to change how they approach things. So definitely going to be interesting for sure. Now, this is, of course, this is a pick I did not expect.
I mean, there is like a similarity, honestly. I've said this multiple times before, like a little bit of a similarity between Jade and Joker, aside from just being a J name. They've got the very similar ranges on some of their normals and where you want to play in certain ranges, and your whole goal is to ideally keep people at this range where, like, they can't do anything back to you, but your pressure makes them scared to try and do something. But this is certainly interesting. I mean, hey, there's not really an winnable match for Joker by any means. Joker, one of the best characters in the game. So, starting off strong though is a great whiff punish. The big difference here, Jade's gonna get way less damage.
Definitely want to point out that the variation name last month, or rather I think it was for the Road to Evo, Reckless Scar actually went up against King Gambler with the Jade, and it worked out extremely well. So I'm wondering if Jet Ring is trying to get that same momentum as well. But here it is. You don't want to be in that corner against Sub-Zero. Tries to go for the load to stop the jump, but here Jet's gonna go for the grab and keep King Gambler in the corner with some of those plus Razor Rings and then the down 4 check as well.
Ooh, King Gambler playing a little bit, I don't want to say impatient, but not really respecting a lot of the pressure here. And I mean, you don't take that much damage, so it's not the worst thing in the world. In fact, that's going to be a win, I think. What do you do here to convert this? Is you down 2 enough? Yeah, okay, down 2 is enough. All right, that was a little bit scary, but Rising Ice is going to be such a good tool when you're trying to get that damage, and there's a breakaway available, and King Gambler has done a great job of using it, and on top of that, the damage difference is going to be huge. Jade, like I mentioned, getting very low damage most of the time, 90% of the time, and now this sub is going to get tons of damage all the time, no matter where you hit, especially with a crushing blow like that. 433.
Yeah, with Jet using that breakaway early, rather late into that last round, that led to not having enough defensive meter, just getting back those 2 bars and back into the fatal blow position, whereas King Gambler can honestly just sit here and slowly approach Jet, especially as there it goes, the ice ball, and here you have it. Even with that breakaway, you're still going to get hit from the ant slide.
All right, so we see the little Scar tribute. Scar, amazing, by the way. Incredible showing in that Road to Evo, your Road to Evo champion. But the little Scar tribute from Jet, we'll see if that continues. That was not looking the worst, but again, I mean, subs just hits you a few times with that variation and you are donezo. And the amount of hits that they both landed was not too far off, definitely more on the advantage of King Gambler, but when your entire combo is like back 2 into, like, I don't know, meter shadow kick, like that's all you're getting, right? As opposed to the entire full combo of whatever you get with Rising Ice. So the damage differential might be a little bit too much. The zoning wasn't really happening all that much. Yeah, it does look like we are going to go back to the Joker. I love seeing Jade. I think she's a good character at the minimum. You know, I was going to say great character. I don't know if I said great, but she's definitely got some great strengths, and Scar's been showing that off. But I do think the Joker is going to have a much stronger chance here, especially just being able to punish all the risky options that sub has so hard.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to when we were watching H-Dope versus Makaran in the EU side. Like, at some point you're going to be, like, you can use the character, and the character's going to have the good tools, right, towards helping making the matchup spread as good as possible, right? But at the end of the day, sometimes, especially with a player like King Gambler, you're not just fighting the character, you're honestly fighting the player. And that's where I feel like Jet's going to Joker here is going to help a lot even things out, because now it's both players playing each other instead of just characters.
Right, and they've definitely played this matchup a good amount of times, not just here in PlayStation tournaments, but other places. These are two of the players who have been grinding really the most as far as like every single opportunity that they get. So there's definitely some more than some experience here. And oh, very nice, but not gonna get the full conversion. Actually automatically went to the leap off of that. Did have an offensive bar, so that may have been an input error, or maybe just guessing that it was not gonna hit. Didn't have the confidence that it was gonna connect, but still could have been a lot more damage. Kingambler's still gonna hold on this lead. Grab's gonna be a little bit more space, but you can't really zone that much with Joker. It's just gonna be a little bit of movement towards the corner.
Yeah, maybe the leap was an attempt to try to get out of that corner and get the side switch, but here, this is a great pickup from Kingambler. Not going to get the extra punch in, but still enough to leave Jet in this Fatal Blow territory. And again, a significant health lead, doesn't have to worry too much, can play it pretty safely here. One thing to note though, it is hard to anti-air some of those leaps, but here we go, 8 seconds on the clock. It is going to need quite a bit here from Jet in order to take it. Oh!
No! Okay, this is really bizarre, but the last time that in person we commentated together was at EVO, and we were on this stage and we saw a like last second Joker comeback. Yes. And that's weird that we're watching that exact same thing again online almost a year later. But wow, 1 second left. That was a lot of patience from Kingambler, maybe a little bit too much. I mean, you can only be so patient against a Fatal Blow available Joker, right? The mix is just going to be so strong, and maybe offense was a little bit better of a choice to go for there. I do appreciate the confidence, but clearly didn't quite pay off.
Getting the hit off of that ice at the last second, was actually very patient in waiting for the Jack in the Box to complete. And what a risk there to go for the down one, but because the down one is a quick recovery move, this is going to allow Kingambler to recover just in time and then respond with the throw for the ender. And we are on potential set point for Kingambler here. That overhead though, not going to reach and allow Jet to get the forward 2 crushing blow.
Yeah, that is a great way to start things off if you're trying to even it up here as Jet. And now just the throw as well. Things are really starting to run away here. Joker getting you in the corner is one of the scariest things possible. Wow, even in a short hop 2 over the down 4. I don't know if that was the read on that, but it was exactly what it was necessary right there. All right, another huge risk, and now there's no defensive bar on the side of Kingambler. It's not going to be it, but the comeback here would have to be ridiculous. And hey, you know what? Kingambler gets the quarterback, and this is Sub-Zero. This is very possible.
Do not let Kingambler be in Fatal Blow territory and allow him to come back. Rather, this is actually a perfect opportunity for him to be. And there goes that up 2. Not gonna get the down 2 for the ender, but once again the overhead. You do not let him get out of the corner. That is where he thrives. These situations is where we see Kingambler really turn up from a 10 to 100.
Oh no, 100 or 1,000. That was just a 100% comeback. That was looking nearly impossible. And yeah, I mean, hey, you said it a bunch of times, exactly true. Can't let Kingambler get out of that corner, get that momentum started. But you know, that was a fight fire with fire situation, right? That's exactly what Jet did in the previous round, was a huge comeback with 1 second left. And then, hey, and it's like, you know what? Now I'm going to get the lead, now I'm going to play patient, and now you're going to get the comeback. So I think the idea here is that they just can't play patient against each other. Both of these players so good at the mix-ups, at the offense, and you give them a little bit of space, you know, give them an inch, they're going to take a mile of your life bar.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's one of those things where, like, when we look at this bracket, that's the level of skill that's just going to happen on the PlayStation Fight Nights. So, with that being said, Kingambler does move on to the semis, where he will be facing against Ghost. That's going to be an interesting match for sure. Now, Jet will be facing against Quicks on the lower side of the bracket. And of course, we have our last 2 winners round 1 matches, which is Galactico versus Killa Cam. And then, of course, Strider Payne versus Osvaldo Diaz, or Diaz for short. And I'm really excited to see the Galactico versus Killa Cam one, because we're going to see, if these, of course, their surveys are correct, we're going to see a Robocop potentially from Galactico, age 42. Now, while it doesn't have all the socials on here, definitely something that I would like to point out is that one of the things that they would want to be considered as their greatest achievement is that they are, were sponsored. And that's actually super important, especially for many players coming into fighting games on a competitive level, right? It's that help from sponsorships, and also part of being of these tournaments able to show off their skills so that future orgs and sponsors can check them out.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden talent in these, especially these tournaments where we open up to a lot of different regions. I mean, we're going to see some amazing Mexican players later on, but a lot of these players, they're secret hit players. A player that I'm a lot more familiar with, just seeing over time, though, is going to be Galactico's opponent, and that's going to be Killa Cam. And I am so excited to see this if we do end up seeing the Shiva coming from my location, Los Angeles. But Killa Cam been playing for a long time and playing NRS games for a long time, and Shiva, a character that's been, I would say, out of favor for a little bit of time, but not to say that Shiva's bad. Of course, there was a time where Shiva was maybe a little bit too in favor in the meta and got some nerfs, but we've seen players like, for example, like H-Dope do, and Killa Cam as well, do quite well with the character still, so I'm excited to see it. And I do have to say, I'll phrase this in a question towards you, Saki. Have you ever seen a high-level Shiva versus RoboCop match?
You know, when season 1 of this game came out, if you told me that this was a thing, I would have looked at you and been like, no way. But I have. I feel like I definitely have. If not against each other, I definitely have seen at least a high-level RoboCop and, of course, the high-level Shiva gameplay. I do want to point out, I feel like Killa Cam is definitely one of those Shiva mains, one of the best ones out there. Really reps the character very well. And I believe at Galactico, it's another really solid, like, 80s main, right? It also has the Rambo as a secondary, which I think is also really cool, too. So, we do see the Shiva pick, not surprising. I definitely feel like Killa Cam wants to show off as much as possible that is a good pick. I don't feel like RoboCop will do very well. There goes the spawn. So we'll another 80s pick.
Yeah, we'll go 3 for 3. Just keep going down the list. But honestly, this is a very much a matchup of like the twins of K-Top H-Dope. This is two of the characters that they play, and they played this matchup before. But we see Soul Forfeit as well. Oh, this is a weird variation. There's no charge. There's Soul Forfeit. There's the air like dash, air jump. And then there's Blaze of Glory, which is the low, I believe. And then on the other side, we do see the Dragon Stance, we see the low grab, and more of what we're used to seeing from Shiva, which is still not that much. But I gotta say, one of the most interesting spawn variations that I have seen in quite a while.
I like that usage of the bat into the low. That did catch Killa Cam off guard a little bit. Now this is where the Dragon Stance comes into play really well. Great anti-air usage. And of course when you meter burn, that's a really good mid projectile. But we do have that dive that allows the closing in off of the distance, but there goes that shoulder bash. And right back into full screen where Shiva can just throw the fireballs at you.
Yeah, the zoning's been really strong. That's going to be a big issue here. We do have some almost projectile options here with like the low chain that was picked as part of the variation, but and just no projectile as well, honestly. Just even trading can be kind of okay here. Spawn does have a pretty decent old projectile, but Killa Cam definitely taking advantage of the zoning. Nice, I like that. Just immediately going for the meter spend right there to go for the big fireball, seeing that there was a jump in, was going to get the anti-air, but now we're starting to see Killa Cam start to run out of offensive bars, so it's getting a little bit scary. Defensive bar is going to come back. However, it's not going to matter as much. This spawn's not going to get those huge launching combos that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, another thing to also point out here is that even though Killa Cam does not have, or rather just got back that 1 bar of meter on offense, the projectiles from Shiva on her projectile is still very active, so she could just literally restand and just apply pressure, and there you have it, Killa Cam getting the shoulder bash at the end to take this first game. Very quick game, too, and that's honestly because of the fact that when you have this projectile obstacle course, right, sometimes you can get a little impatient, and with Galactico, it was really trying to get in, but not being mindful of Killa Cam's meter.
Okay, so I'm sure somebody in chat blew me up for seeing wrong, but I thought it was the low chain. We're actually not getting the low chain. I lied. It was the gunshots, low gunshots we got to see at the end, which I'm actually a fan of, like some of the gunshot options from Spawn, just for fun purposes, but we only got to see it once. Very strange matchup, I have to say once again. Looks like we're going to go for yet even another character off the beaten path, but our second Frost of the day, which is a strange thing to see. Now, I do feel like Frost has some great counter zoning options. If you can hit people with the down back 2, like the ice bomb, it is a very long knockdown. It does a lot of good damage for a single hit. Also, we might see the shield. No, we're gonna see the Arctic Barrage and the crown. Wait, what's the crown? Oh, that's the bomb head setup. Wow,
Yep.
That's cool.
I almost feel like that will be hard to. You know, it could be good. It could be a good and a bad situation. I feel like the ice bombs might be a little bit better, considering that it can reach a little bit further and already activate once on hit, but who knows, maybe this is the variation for it. Already closing in on some gaps here with the Frost, but once again, Killa Cam closing in, starting up the mix-up train. There goes the amped projectile and the down 1 trades, and to the mix-up game, and already pushing Galactico closer to the corner.
Very nice. This is the classic Shiva game that we're used to seeing from all of the good Shivas that are still currently playing the character. Being able to kind of just play the lower damage mix-up game when you're up close, use some crushing blows for punishes, and otherwise you kind of just space them with zoning. That is relatively common. We saw the shield charge right there too as well, but again, such a weird variation from Galactico. We are seeing the bomb get some good usage. Honestly, like once it comes out, it's looking pretty decent, but that's going to be unsafe. Oh, whoa, no punish. That could have been a full, even crushing blow punish right there if we needed it.
And there goes this slight delay on the projectile. Was that Galactico actually trying to wake up the delay too, but Killa Cam with the patience, using the fireballs as the meaty. That was very smart there, and that's one of those things where really shows off that he knows how to play Shiva extremely well with this variation. And here, still keeping Galactico in the corner while Galactico is trying to zone out. Does get the sight just in time, but here we have it. The first freeze this time actually working for Galactico and forcing Killa Cam to break away.
Ooh, just gets one hit of the back one, didn't fully commit. This is a big risk. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Was even a dash forward punish. Maybe it was because it was meter spent on it. Gosh, I haven't seen this. By the way, one of the sickest looking moves in the game. Unfortunately, it is just not good. That overhead like scythe attack. But maybe it's a little bit safer if you do spend meter on it. Chat, you're gonna have to remind me. This is we need to go back to like 2000 and I don't know 2020 Wonder Chef to remember some of these moves that we're seeing from this Frost. But I do know that you can set up some really sick stuff with the head if you do get it. Whoa, there we go. That's a way to stop zoning. That should be enough to at least tie things up. There's no way to get around that really, but now at least it's going to be off the board for round number 3 as still going to be match point Killa Cam.
Yeah, definitely calling out Killa Cam's usage of the dragon stance, and of course, like the variation says, only fireballs. So let's see if Galactico can take this. Has been really on point with the zoning. I would almost say been able to actually be equal against Killa Cam. And now some of these trades actually being in the favor of Galactico. And look, that health is already gone. I believe also Shiva is the one with the 950 health club as well. So this just means that Killa Cam has to play a little more aggressive now that the health deficit is extremely large here.
Yeah, we can see some really good mix-ups, though. I love when you just straight up combo in the Dragon Stance. It's so funny to watch people just get hit by like it just delays it. That's why we saw so much of Foxy playing this variation. Was you get to just basically tilt people, watch them get hit by fireballs. Ooh, interesting pressure. I do like that. There's a chance to potentially duck that. Oh, this is the full juggle. Very nice. Knows that there wasn't going to be a 4th hit possible. Fatal Blow was probably supposed to come out there. We still have a chance for it, but right now this is tough. Low life. There's a lot of zoning going on here. There's a good amount of chip. Oh, the stomp. Oh, we see the return of the stomp. I like the attempt, but without the ability to guide it, that was a really easy reaction. And hey, the Frost pick actually worked out. That's a surprising pick, and especially just the moves that we ended up seeing with it. I thought maybe like the dive was going to be the option to get over some of the fireballs, or maybe just absorb one of them with the shield or something. But hey, the head setups, the projectiles, interesting, but working out super well.
Yeah, I was gonna earlier I was a little bit like, does the Frost head or the crown actually work out in favor of Galactico. But I understand why it's that decision over the Ice Bomb is because of the fact that you have to worry about what's on the ground as well as the Ice Kunai as well, right? Like, because that as that ground is happening, if you try to jump, if you try to even throw or go for the trade, you're going to get frozen, and that's just going to give enough time for Galactico to come and close in on the distance and start applying some pressure as well. Plus, on top of the fact that, you know, we really saw Killa Cam kind of struggle there to win the zoning battle, or the zoning war as we like to call it, because a lot of it ended in trades that were favorable to Galactico, so much so that we're going to Aaron Block now for Killa Cam.
Ooh, with the Scud shot, I like this. We're gonna see the normal sort of acid pour, enhanced lock and loaded, and that last option is sometimes up in the air, but this time it's gonna be the Scud shot. So if we do see the kunai projectiles come out, we're gonna see a whole lot of gunshots, maybe more than should be in a revolver of that type. But we are gonna see it as a great answer to that counter zoning, I guess you could say. I do like Aaron in this. You get to be a lot more aggressive, and the aggression's gonna be big here. One of the big issues with this variation of Frost, your damage is low. So if you can kind of just brawl, you might have a chance to just out damage.
Yeah, we do see here too that with the Killa Cam having Scud shot, that does take away some of the shurikens that Killa Cam, or rather Galactico, is throwing out, but still losing the zoning more significantly as well. Still having to try to close in on some of these gaps. And there goes the scythe coming out, the overhead, not catching it. Again, because of the crown, wasn't able to down to that forward two because at the risk of being frozen.
I will say that there is there's a really high level way. Ooh, nice. That should be a little bit familiar. We're gonna say like, hey, now I've got a full screen fatal blow as well, and you're gonna have to eat that. But honestly, it's not gonna be enough, and this is still a spot where we could see Galactico win and just take away that that resource completely, especially with a fatal blow of their own. No, just kidding. That's gonna be that. But what I was gonna say was that the projectiles, the kunai projectiles, they are. There's an answer for it that not a lot of players know how to do, but you duck the first two hits and then jump the last ones, and there's a chance to potentially get over it and like do a ton of damage because you are locked in animation forever, especially if you have some sort of aerial option. Not that these characters do, but there's some answers. It's just who's used to fighting this variation anymore?
I was gonna say, yeah, this is probably, oh my gosh, like second variation competitively if you think about it, with that scythe, and then just trying to mix it just a little bit. But great blocks here. We do have that last hit, though, going into the Vile hit from the Amp. And now Killa Cam trying to take advantage of the corner positioning that Galactico is in. Once again, bringing out the Vile and smashing it over Galactico's head. And some staggers here. This is where it can get pretty dangerous. Brings out the command grab of the rifle as well. And now Killa Cam trying to keep this corner pressure, still getting hit by that overhead. It's crazy too because it's not as fast as you would think. It's still pretty slow, so you should be able to react to it, especially at that distance. But now back into the zoning game. You don't have to worry about that full screen fatal blow anymore from Killa Cam because it's already been used. And there goes the Frost Frozen head happening into the full screen fatal blow.
Yeah, I was definitely ready for that. I do like the attempt to kind of get down and throw out the gunshots, but yeah, that was for sure going to happen. Luckily, at least Killa Cam won that first round. So again, now neither has fatal blow. Now it's going to be a lot less scary in that ranged game. Also, yeah, you got to wait for the end of the projectiles to amplify that Scud shot. Otherwise, you're just going to get hit by some of the projectiles because they come out so slow potentially. One thing that we really need to see though is Killa Cam either, Killa Cam, like, most realistically, just doing forward 4 every single time that there's, like, a zoning opening in neutral, because we've seen almost every single time Galactico go for the head setup, and you can just shut that down. It's not the fastest recovering thing in the world. Just get in, just try the forward 4. What's the risk?
I like that Killa Cam stopping from Galactico jumping every single time, actually getting more combos from the stubbing the jumps each time. There goes the forward 2, though, having to continue up with that dial-up string, while Killa Cam again closing in on these gaps. It's getting a little bit tougher as both are pretty much even in health. It really has been just a poke war instead of full combo potential. Finally, Galactico getting some of the shurikens out. There goes the Scud Shot Amped again. But that does leave Killa Cam with 1 bullet, as well as no meter to use. Oh, the 4-2 does get the landing. Now, couldn't continue the damage because the slide couldn't be metered. This is 14 seconds on the clock as well. It could be anybody's game still. 1 hit confirmed, 1 trade. There goes the throw!
That's not enough, I don't think. I think 1 more hit, and with 1 second left, oh, you had to do something! You had to do something! Had to try some sort of forward 4 or throwing acid far away or amp scud shot maybe, anything but a 1 second left. You gotta try something. A great timeout win, and wow, this is one of the first times that I have seen this variation of Frost win in tournament. A great showing though, really playing that zoning game very, very well, taking advantage of the head. We didn't see any really amazing kind of setups, but using it really as a tool for neutral was kind of the main strength here. So great stuff to Galactico, bringing it back 2 games straight with this cryogenic crown Frost. Very rare.
Yeah, this is actually a really good Frost display. Almost a throwback display of Frost. Definitely something that we weren't really expecting. Also, a sort of like out of the ballpark pick as well. You know, we were really expecting the Spawn or the Robocop, but instead going for the Frost that just made sense and even forced Killa Cam off of Shiva and into Aaron Black. Now, there were, of course, moments where both players' defense was just phenomenal. They were very much well aware of each other, even to the point where, like, some of the slightest, like, mistakes in not punishing certain moves definitely costed some of those rounds or even potential to come back. But that is our winner's 3rd match for round 1. We are going to go ahead and check out our next match, the last of winners round 1. And this is going to be Strider Payne from Mexico. You can check out their socials and streams at @sryu_PayneFZ. One of my favorite players to see, quite honestly. See them almost every time here on the PlayStation Fight Nights. Probably one of the most notable players. Has a Cabal, has also Jackie, if I'm not mistaken, too, in the mix. Probably even the Kung Lao, because, you know, most of Mexico really tries to main Kung Lao as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what the response is here against Osvaldo.
Yeah, one of another amazing player also from Mexico. So this is going to be kind of like how we had a huge, I guess you could say, like a huge name match, right? Like a highlight match earlier between 2 NA players. This is going to be 2 Mexico players here, with Osvaldo Diaz, formerly now just Diaz, is currently probably playing a lot of the same characters that you mentioned. A lot of Mexico. I do have to say, one of the best things about watching Mexico is they understood the meta so well, so quickly. We see so many of them play a lot of Cabal, a lot of Jackie, a lot of Kung Lao, like you said, and a big reason for that is that that's really one of the areas where the Buzzsaw hat Cabal, or sorry, Buzzsaw Cabal, please don't put that in the game, but the Buzzsaw Kung Lao really kind of originated, so it was really kind of created there, and we can see how strong it was. So a lot of these players have a lot of these characters. I'm not sure if we're exactly going to see the Cabal versus the Jackie. There's a good chance that we will, but there's always a chance for a switch. Yeah, both of these players have done extremely well in these tournaments. I think there's a chance that both of them have won one, or at the very minimum come very, very close, and we've seen them both plenty of times. So this is going to be a high-profile match as well. Another really scary one to be in round 1 of the tournament.
You know, we talk a lot about how some of these matches have been, like, pretty high profile, especially given that many of these names have been on the PlayStation Fight Nights. It's really hard to see the bracket like this, where usually these grand finals or winners finals matches, they're gonna happen early on, and that's just the nature of when you come back again and again. You're gonna end up in some of these positions where you gotta be prepared. It's a bloodbath out here. You can't let up whatsoever.
Yeah, it is it is tough. It is very tough. I mean, definitely sign up for these tournaments if you want really good experience. You're going to get some really great players that you're going to have a chance to go up against. And of course, there were open qualifiers for this, so it's not like this is literally the first round of the tournament. Every single player had to fight their way here. Very, very difficult path, of course, to make it all the way to the grand finals from the open qualifiers to the top 8 bracket to, of course, just winning winning the entire thing. And that's why we do see matches like this in the first round here sometimes, or for example, like Jet going down to Jet, who was the previous Road to Evo champion last year, now going down to lose his first round, and now we're going to see another extremely strong player go down to lose his first round. So it can be tough, but hey, you know, the experience is invaluable. That's why we do see players like these do very well at Evo, or qualify to go to Evo, or do great in other tournaments. It's just the best place to be. But this one, if we do end up seeing this matchup that we are seeing on screen right now, which I said is probably a good chance that we will, it'll be very aerial, and we call it, of course, upgraded Jackie, even though it's no longer upgraded, and we call it upgraded Cabal, even though it was never upgraded, just because it's so similar to that Jackie. So I expect to see a lot of jumps.
It's the colloquial community language that we like to say on here for many of these players. But yeah, I mean, you're very much accurate on how that matchup can go. It's the air-to-air, who dominates in the air the most. You know, I think about this a lot, and I think this is probably one of Jackie's most even matchups, I would say, especially with customs being part of the game plan for Cabal now.
Yeah, they can be very, very tough for Jackie. One of her biggest reasons why she can control so much of the game usually is that it's so hard to air her. Her jump 2 is like the longest limb of all time. I don't know why it's so long. She does yoga or something, and she's like learned to stretch out her arm. That was actually not a Street Fighter joke, but it was almost a Street Fighter joke. I swear I didn't intend it that way. But it is a ridiculous normal. And so most characters, they just can't ever challenge the range on the jump to air, or the fact that she got the blast. But Cabal jump 2 is like, I don't need to like extend an arm because I can extend it a giant hook sword. And so there's a lot of great air-to-air potential. And the other thing is that the air-to-air conversions are so good, and it's not going to matter because we're not even going to see that matchup at all. So why am I even talking about it?
Yeah, I've seen this has actually been like lately, I would say in the last couple of PlayStation Fight Nights, I have seen Shirley Payne actually go for Kodo pick. And honestly, as I see more Kodo mains tackle Jackie, that's probably been the best counter to this character since, I would say, Aftermath, to be honest.
Yes. We've more and more over time, just consistently, I feel like the stocks in Mortal Kombat have risen and risen and risen. And at EVO last year, we really got to see such a great example of that. Just the damage, the control, everything. And also, you want to talk about long jump attack limbs. That jump 1 is unbelievable. Another great opportunity to be able to get the air-to-airs, which is exactly what we saw. And this round is almost over. I mean, hey, Diaz is in fatal territory. We've seen the comebacks happen with Jackie today even, but this is looking really tough. Even a Sunbeam right now might kind of spell doom.
Yeah, absolutely. There goes this forward 2 into the discus. And there you have it, that low sweep actually taking out Diaz in this first round. And this is a great example of how a character like Kodo, who's honestly been sort of like on the lower side of the radar unless you talk to a character loyalist, has really come on the up and coming since Customs came out, has been the answer. Especially when Mortal Kombat being out as long as it has been for 11, showing off that, you know, sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to cook.
Yeah, or kind of a lot of time. Honestly, I think like Kotal, I mean, especially if you look back at pre-patch Kotal, there was a lot of weaknesses in that character, and now we've ended up with one of the most solid sort of brawler grapplers that we could possibly get. And also, it doesn't take that much execution just to like even do some of the movement or the combos. I mean, sorry, the wave dashing takes a ton, but just as far as the other stuff, not maybe the most intensive character. So being able to play this character well is a great character to have in your pocket right now. Diaz trying to get that last hit in, maybe trying to make a comeback with the fatal blow, but once again has to get in on this gigantic, oh no, range that Kotal has. The leap was perfect, but the jump 2 went over Kotal's head. A great read. Unfortunate that it didn't work out, but we're gonna see Payne do very well with this Kotal in game number 1.
That was a great Kotal round, honestly. Like, momentum, did everything right. Defense was also on point. That's another thing too, that when you're playing against Jackie, a lot of people panic because they're like, oh, when can I take my turn? Like, I don't know when that like gap or that opportunity to press in between the leaps and the goop is gonna occur. But sure, I'm pretty sure has played this matchup so many times at this point. He just knows, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna sit here. I have the health to take all of that chip. Let's just wait until Osvaldo Diaz just stops pressing and then goes in for the kill.
Yeah, being able to have that level of patience because you're playing a character with extra life and that does so much damage, it's just so nice. And you can even potentially heal himself with the Sunbeam if that does end up happening at any point. Not that it necessarily needs to, but just all that, it all adds up to feeling pretty good. Another thing to notice, we did see the Taquani Maul. That's the cat move, so we didn't get a chance to really see that very much, but it's going to be really good if we do see a little bit more of like a zoning option from Diaz, which we haven't even gotten to that point, but already there's game plans in motion that could stop the next level of how this neutral could play out. Oh, I thought there was going to be a trade combo right there. Not quite though.
Yeah, there goes this command grab. Also another big tool set for Kodo that really makes it not fun here. But we do finally see Diaz finally get some sort of momentum out of the corner, but still getting hit by that jump kick after the attempt on the throw. And the sun. The sun will come into place.
You know, if any character deserves to die that way, it's definitely Jackie, right? Like, how many times have Jackie players gotten the guaranteed checkmates on people with the goop? I feel like it's very well deserved to go down that way. But already match point for Pain. This is looking pretty good for Diaz, though, getting the pressure at least a lot more than the previous games. Oh, but just is setting so much on the back foot, scared to go to the air. And once you get a Jackie scared to go to the air, it is very much on the other character.
There goes this mid though. That was actually a great response. We do get the triple shurikens from Jackie. Now that is a punish, and that's going to lead Pain to actually get the side switch. Now let's see if we can get it actually missing the command grab. And now it's just defense from Pain. Doesn't have a lot of health to work with here. We're actually just going to go to the unblockable in your face. Just in your face, show that we are not scared to unleash that slow, reactable, unblockable.
Oh no, this is a scary spot. Yep, that's going to be that. If the damage over time did end up on the ground right there, that would have probably been GG as well. So kind of a lose-lose situation. Now, finally, Diaz getting on board. Again, like I said, great player. Well, we just haven't had a chance to really see that in this matchup so far. It's going to be the first big opportunity, but command grab coming out saying, you know what? I'm not going to give you that opportunity at all ever again, ideally, if you're Pain. Oh,
Ooh,
how does that jump
hit
kick
there from that jump kick. Okay, we have the amp on the side switch. Now this is a great counter for Diaz. It's gonna have to hit a lot, about 4 times at the very least. Just gonna do the raw command grab, and this might be all that Pain wrote. Yes, indeed, we'll be taking it over Diaz 2-0 in this series.
Very nice. I mean, again, I really have to stress that that Diaz has done very, very well in these tournaments. That was not kind of what I expected for this to go, but Pain's Kotal is looking so good. Like you mentioned, Pain has brought the Kotal a decent amount of times over the past, even I would say, few months, but it's gotten a little bit short, I think. It's gone up a little bit short a few of the times that I've seen it, so I do like the fact that we're seeing like a commitment to this to try and get it on the roster, the already strong roster that Pain has, and is looking better today than I've probably ever seen it. That was looking so incredibly clean.
Absolutely. And then, of course, let's go ahead and see this finalized bracket. We're going to go ahead and check out where we're at. So we do have an update for the lower side. We're going to have Jet versus Quickstep, with Jet moving on 2-0. And then now with the loss from Pain, Diaz will be heading against Killa Cam. And then, of course, on our winners semis, we have Ghost versus King Gambler and Galactico versus Pain. Already some really hype matches. Has been pretty tough. Some of these scores don't tell the full story at the level of play that we're honestly kind of used to seeing towards the end of these brackets, but it's just happening straight away. And I'm very excited to see how Ghost will actually contend against King Gambler.
Yeah, these players are not wasting any time. They're trying to get to the money and get out of here. They're like, all right, let's clean this up. But this is probably the matchup that I'm most excited for that we've got kind of lined up so far. Ghost versus King Gambler. Ghost, we saw a great little taste of just how strong that they are on that Jackie, and Gambler, of course, everybody should basically be familiar with King Gambler. And this is going to be a tough one. You do, of course, have to know the Jackie matchup is basically everybody. Sub does pretty well against her as well. I'm I'm assuming going to be the solid pick. But I don't know if I've ever seen these two play against each other before. I'm sure there's probably a good chance that they have, but just maybe out of my own line of sight, as there's so many community tournaments going on still online, and there's so many regionals and stuff happening that I'm never able to catch every single one. But two players that have definitely been, I mean, it's wild to say it, but I still feel like King Gambler's been on the up and up, even though he was already like top 8 Evo good, but he's just continued to improve over the past year. So two players that have just been grinding and getting better and better, and already have a pretty strong history.
The King Gambler stonks are going up.
Up and up.
No, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, these are actually two names that, like I mentioned, Ghost being like sort of this late bloomer in terms of rising up in offline, and then now of course we finally get to see some of the online performance versus a very seasoned veteran in competition like King Gambler. You know, has been dominating, I would say, the offline for a good while. Started off with the Night Wolf at the beginning of the life cycle and ending it with the Sub-Zero, even using Night Wolf in the occasionally as well. This is going to be a very fun match because I feel like this is like new versus veteran, essentially.
Well, don't forget the Scarlet as well. Unfortunate character kind of progression for King Gambler, going to some tough characters and finally ending on Sub-Zero, and it's like, okay, yeah, I think that they're definitely holding you back, despite the fact that I love to see them, and that Night Wolf still sometimes, that is, I would say the sub's working out a little bit better for King Gambler, maybe just a teensy bit, and currently it's working out way better, as this is a very dominant game so far, but until this is over, I'm never going to say it's over. This is such a wild, swingy match that it can be just a 100% return if you give one person one opportunity.
Yeah, both characters are snowball effects, right? But look at this movement here from King Gambler. Has been really on point. Great throw tech, some of the stubs on the lows, and then here we have that back throw that's going to just allow the spacing. And then again, some of these checks in full-on close-up range, allowing King Gambler to get those throws going. Probably also trying to load up on the escape fail throws. That's a big part of Sub-Zero's kit that you have to also tend to like remember, especially with a player like King Gambler.
Yeah, I love the throw game with Sub-Zero, like the fact that you can set up, oh my gosh, that was a great little conversion from that jab anti-air. Just had to point that out there, but yeah, you gotta be really super smart with throws, like one throw gets you Oki, the other throw doesn't, but then the other throw, if you think that you're gonna get the Oki throw, helps you set up the throw, the non-tech, and I don't know, it's a lot of mind games within a character that already has so many mind games. But here we go, King Gambler gonna get the full combo this time, as it wasn't a defensive meter to break away, but Ghost, great throw out of the corner, trying to build more space. Unfortunately now that's gonna be fatal blow territory for King Gambler, which means that all that he needs to do is land one hit. Not gonna happen though. Great of close to close that out. That's actually a spot where we see a lot of people back off and try to play safe, but then it just gives the space for King Gambler to kind of make the comeback. So I do like the continued offense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you there. What a great wake up 3 though, actually allowing both the side switch into the overhead, and this is where Ghost unfortunately is going to have to hold all of this damage. A risky play though from King Gambler. We don't really usually see him go for that crushing blow when the opponent has 2 bars, but this is actually perfect, and this is going to allow King Gambler to probably seal the deal thanks to that meter amp on the Rising Ice.
Very nice, very strong stuff. Again, though, it was a very swingy game, right? Like, it looked like somebody was dominating. Even within rounds, it was like one player was just in total control, then suddenly the control switched, and the control switched back. So I don't feel like this was a bad game for Ghost at all. I just feel like King Gambler held most of the control, and that can happen a lot of the time. That is a reason why we do see a lot of players pick Sub-Zero against Jackie. Having less life, Jackie can eat less mix-ups, she can take less risks, and she has to use a lot of, well, she doesn't have to, but she can use a lot of defensive bar to make her jumps go where they want to go. But if you do that, then you're taking even more damage from especially a Rising Ice sub. So the matchup is just going to work out pretty well for King Gambler overall. Not that Jackie's ever bad in any situation, but I just always like to see the subs do quite well in this situation.
Yeah, one other thing too, again, I really want to highlight is we usually see King Gambler be really patient with that crushing blow at the end. But I think one thing to also notice here from Ghost is the amount of meter usage. probably not as quick to break away as most of the players that we've seen against King Gambler will tend to do. That's both a curse and a blessing at the same time, because that does allow you to be a little more versatile with your defensive options. But again, you end up in these situations where it can be a slugfest, and sometimes breaking away is just your best option.
Well, no breaking away from that back throw, but oh wow, what a huge risk. That was a gigantic risk, and definitely paying the price for that. I mean, I guess I somewhat appreciate it. Using that crushing blow. Whoa, I haven't seen that bug for so long. Oh my goodness. I didn't even realize that was still in the game. If you finish somebody with that crushing blow, sometimes it doesn't do the damage and it ends the round and it looks like they have health left. But I actually haven't seen that happen for a very, very long time. So I thought they patched it out. I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, with that, that's going to put King Gambler in a really not safe spot here, using the back throw to actually trip King Gambler and setting up Goo once again. I don't really agree with the back throw, because this is where, again, you're putting King Gambler in Fatal Blow territory, and Sub-Zero is one of the better comeback characters, especially when you look at the snowball effect that he can have. But Ghost is also sitting pretty as well, so honestly, it's just playing patiently here. Actually calling out some of the more riskier takes. Again, King Gambler is in Fatal Blow. He becomes Ultra Instinct here. It's gonna be not a fun time. This is where, again, right there, exactly what I've been trying to say. You don't have to overextend. You know Gambler was playing a little bit more risky, but this Fatal Blow won't kill. It just allows King Gambler to really make you second guess yourself for that throw.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at how much respect Ghost was putting right there on King Gambler. Just sitting there waiting, gets back thrown. And yeah, that's the thing that makes the Sub-Zero Fatal Blow one of the best in the game, is the fact that it does give you the best Oki of any Fatal Blow in the entire game. And you know what character can use that better than little old Sub-Zero? But just holding on that momentum, King Gambler already getting a huge crushing blow combo, starting to get grabbed, and now is in this very scary spot again, but still just feels like the comeback has kind of begun.
Absolutely, that kick is plus, so that is going to allow King Gambler to enforce. Also, one thing to note here is that King Gambler has been more aggressive on the anti-airs than compared to Ghost, which is huge, right? Because as you can see, that will second guess your leaps, and here we have it forcing Ghost to break away early, and that is just going to be that throw into the back throw, allowing King Gambler to take this game 2-0, essentially.
I'm telling you, all you need to do is just give one little moment, 1 second, 1 inch to King Gambler, and you can lose the entire set. That's exactly what happened right there. I felt like Ghost took total control, 100% control, and then gave one opportunity, and that was like 2 rounds gone. Just a bunch of continued momentum over and over, and that was all it took. So, yeah, there's a reason why King Gambler is as successful as he is, and that is the fact that you cannot give him any sort of space, any sort of leeway, or he will end your tournament run. Luckily, it's not the end of the tournament run for Ghost. I feel like Ghost is going to have a great chance to come back. I hope we get a chance to see Ghost versus Jet Ring later in the tournament. Oh, actually, they might end up having to play against each other. No, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be on sides of the bracket. I don't know. We'll see when we get to the bracket. I just feel like that would be a great match, but there's a chance that we will see it or won't see it. Regardless, King Gambler, very well deserved, heading into winners finals.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the dot, right? It's that Ghost was on behind the wheel for most of those matches, but the minute that you let go and you give King Gambler too much respect, that's where King Gambler is going to really take advantage, not just as a player perspective, but again, Sub-Zero, like you mentioned with the Fatal Blow, great Oki situation. Even with some of the more jump-ins as well, coming through, loading up damage as well to keep in mind, corner pressure. Like, sometimes you just have to take that risk, because even just blocking and respecting is a risk of itself, but at least when you try to give that fight back a mentality a little bit, it does help better to close out that round. And that's one thing that I've noticed a lot when players fight against King Gambler, is that they're almost ready to close out the round, but for some reason they just give so much respect to him. Of course, duly noted, because he's a very strong player, right? But King Gambler takes advantage of that respect and is just able to seal the deal. So with that, King Gambler is going to be heading on to the winners finals. Like you mentioned, Ghost will be heading down to the losers side. And then, of course, we have our next match. which is going to be exciting because I did not expect Galactico to honestly make it here to the semifinals, truthfully.
Yeah, same as well. By the way, real quick before I talk about this, I did get confirmation that Jet and Ghost are not going to be on the same side of the bracket until later in the loser side, which means that we do get a chance. If they were in the same side earlier, which I was afraid of, we wouldn't have a chance to see them, but there is a chance that we do see that match. But like you said, Galactico, that was a very surprise pick and a very surprise comeback in that first set against Killa Cam. But this is the real test. Pain is a gigantic roadblock in the way. And another big thing is that especially a lot of these players that are really strong from Mexico, they know a lot of matchups and they know a lot of weird matchups very well. So I do feel like if we do see something like the Frost again, there's not going to be an opportunity to maybe get as much of the zoning going. There's going to be a lot of this matchup knowledge from every single thing. Like these Mexican players, they're grinding so hard. If I got one wish, it would be to see more of them at Evo this year. So I hope that some of them do get a chance to make it out. Players like Payne, you know, or Diaz, or I don't know. I mean, honestly, there's a bunch of them. I'm not even gonna go through every single name, but we'll see what the pick is here. We've already seen that Galactico's character pool is pretty wide, and it will be the RoboCop. So I do think that. Actually, you know what? I think that maybe the last time that I saw Galactico on a PlayStation broadcast, it was in this matchup against this player. I could be wrong on that, but I do believe that's what it was, and I do think that Payne did really, really well. It might have been a different player, but for sure, we've seen Kodo go from a character that gets zones to people learning how to move and how to use Tekwani Maul and how to just kind of play the character in general to being a very difficult character to zone, but hey, it's still RoboCop.
Yeah, usually I've seen this matchup, at least on the NA side, be Sunio versus Aztec, and it does really well. Like, RoboCop can really zone out Kodo pretty decently, but it looks like Payne is actually a little bit ahead here. Also to note as well, this is the battle of the big health. This was actually like the trade of health, where RoboCop gets the more health, and Kodo Khan is the one that's in 1050.
Yeah, a little bit less over time, but yeah, this is the big issue, right? It's once you get in with Kodo, how do you get out? And yes, of course, Suneo is just a whole different type of beast. Love watching Suneo on every single character, but right now, it's gonna have to be some corner pressure to make the comeback. Zoning might not be enough damage to make the full comeback, especially when there's stuff like, you know, the cat can always check, you can get some chip. It's definitely not going to be a comeback now, but there's just a lot of great options, right? Like Discus from full screen, the trade with a projectile. You can set up a sunbeam and just take the trade and maybe get some life back. Just a lot of different really good options. And yeah, the spike strip not stopping the cat, does some cool little jumps. If you ever see them, they're very good at jumping around obstacles.
I will say, I do like that Galactico is trying to use the parry shield as a way to kind of like test if Payne's gonna go for the damage. What a great way to get out, but still, Payne's gonna reach. This is a character that has the longer range buttons and does really well. There goes that low gunshot, something that really helps in the matchup too, but it looks like Payne has just been ready for it each time. Gonna use the amp to get the damage. The roll though, putting Galactico back in the corner, and now this is just honestly patience here with both players on that fadeable range, but there you have it. Payne's gonna take the first game of the series.
This is it's pretty solid here from Payne. There's really no other way to put it. This is just looking exactly like one might expect. Again, I mean, you know, it's if you can keep out Kodo, it's great. But the problem with RoboCop is that you really need to just keep people out the entire time. And if there is somebody who is really, really strong getting on zoning, really strong keeping you in, like their pressure once they do, it can be tough. And like I mentioned, Payne has just so much tournament experience, just an unbelievable amount of high-level tournament experience. So I'm not sure if we're going to see the RoboCop again. Some of the brawls were pretty good, right? Like we saw once they got actually up close, there was a good amount of like challenges, like the forward threes from Galactico, but hey, it looks like there's going to be a commitment back to the RoboCop. We'll see if we see any variation change. I agree with you. The shield, I think, was great. It just, we didn't see it kind of play out all that much, but it's definitely something that could come into play. And let's look at the air charge, the low auto 9, and the spike trap again.
Yeah, you know, one thing to kind of remember here is sometimes when you have a good tool in a character, if the player is not falling for it, which this is what's happening with this variation, then sometimes having that tool can be more of a risk in of itself. But that's just the nature of when you're playing against different players and you just realize, okay, hold up, I need to change my style a little bit. I need to play maybe a little more aggressive. One thing's for sure, the zoning, like especially with a character like Kotal, it's going to take a lot more than just using that low auto 9 on that as well.
Yeah, especially when we have 20 Maul available. Cats are a great solve for everything. Ooh, bonk back in the corner. And honestly, this corner pressure's been pretty good from Galactico. I feel like if there's one spot that they've been winning in, it's been right there, that exact spot. But backing up, and honestly, backing up might not even be the move. I'm telling you, most of the damage has come from the offense, and there is a nice little strike-through game. We don't see the command grab, but you still can have some pretty good corner pressure just with the fact that you do have ranged options that can give you that mid-range kind of strength. But Fatal Blow's available, Cat's there. Oh, just... I don't know what that was an attempt to do, but the catch is hit from full screen.
Oh, the block on that Fatal Blow, perfect for Pain, and able to keep the corner as well. And this is pretty much 4-2 territory that Pain can take advantage of. And it's going to be a little bit tougher for Galactico to try to get out of this corner. Once again, able to just keep this corner. And that's a good thing too for Kotal, right? Because now you're about to pretty much stub jumps. You're about to play your pressure game. Great usage of the air dash there from Galactico to get out of that corner and avoid all of it.
Okay, you're gonna have to really run away with this zoning. I feel like if one more time, well, okay, I was gonna say if Pain gets in one more time, this could be over. And that might have been the one more time. Oh, I like the roll. That actually was able to switch sides. That was a really, really good option. Unfortunately, gets full crushing blow comboed, and now you're back in the corner once again. The Fatal Blow's there. We've already seen it baited once. Oh, no, oh, not quite gonna be it. It's gonna be a lot of damage, but yeah, I don't know how you really get out of this situation.
You do double tap as a response, and there you have it. Pain taking it over 2-0. You know what's interesting? I honestly expected Pain to go for the sunlight, but I feel like that double cat was perfect because nobody would have expected the double cat.
Yeah, also we've seen that Galactico didn't really have that great of an answer for the cat, right? I mean, we've seen people really learn to like flawless block it or learn how to jump over it when it's like kind of the full screen obvious versions of it. But Galactico maybe needs to go back to the lab a little bit, just learn how to deal with that option in particular. I mean, they definitely got here for a reason into these semifinals, but looks like maybe Kotal might be one of their weaknesses, and that's definitely something that can happen. This is a huge roster of characters with a lot of different moves each, so if you're not ready for every single thing, then it can be a tough time. And for sure, Pain realized kind of like, okay, this is what my opponent's comfortable with, this is what they're not comfortable with, and I'm going to use what they're not comfortable with until they lose, and that is a sign of a top player, right? If something's working, even if it shouldn't be working, if it's working, it's working, and you use it until they prove otherwise. So great stuff to Pain, and that does mean that we're going to see Pain versus King Gambler in the winners finals. That should be a great match.
Yeah, and let's take a look at our bracket here with King Gambler and Pain in the finals. We're going to see Galactico versus Jet. We're still waiting on the match update from Diaz and Killa Cam, which I'm sure we'll get that update as soon as we can. And then, of course, that winner will be facing off against Ghost. Plenty of Mortal Kombat 11 action here on the NA PlayStation Fight Nights channel. It has been really awesome to also check out. But as a reminder to you at home, you can also compete on the PlayStation Fight Nights with compete.playstation.com. You can sign up on your desktop. You can sign up on your mobile. You can sign up even on your consoles directly in the tournament section. So honestly, you have no excuses to try your luck in these brackets.
Yeah, honestly, I think if you turn on that PS2 behind you, there's maybe a chance you could sign up on there. You know, that's just how many different places you can sign up for it. But it is without a doubt so easy, and you can also see a lot of like videos and stuff on there, which is really cool as well. But I think now it's time for a break, unless I'm forgetting anything. Sorry, but we are going to now have the second half of our tournament play out. We're going to give these players just a little bit of a moment to play through. We saw that the losers bracket was a little bit moving slowly down, which makes a lot of sense. We get to see Diaz down there taking on, I mean, that's actually just like a crazy lower bracket, but we'll see how that plays out as we go to just a short break. So don't go anywhere, because we're going to be finishing up our top 8 here at the Mortal Kombat 11 Fight Nights right after this.
Gaming is defined by moments.
It is intense.
The joy of victory and the thrill of overcoming challenges. Welcome to our home of competitive gaming, where we can all experience exciting esports moments
The final 1v1 of the game here.
and celebrate the pros and the rising stars,
I do want to see a female in the MCS.
bringing you guides and deep dives
Horizon can go up, but she can't go up fast.
and tournaments where the community competes.
Wait! Did he get? No way!
Whether you're in a heated match
Back, let's go.
or watching along at the edge of your seat,
A duo taking down a trio!
let's create moments from the games you love.
He'll take it.
Join us and subscribe to our channel to follow everything esports on PlayStation.
PlayStation.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Mortal Kombat 11 PlayStation Tournaments Fight Nights. We are here with North America. We're about halfway through the bracket, and I'm Wonder Chef, and I swear, Saka, I just saw you about 2 seconds ago in that video.
Listen, that was the few times you get to see me as a spectator. Usually you'll find me either in brackets behind the commentator desk or on the youtube.com/PlayStation Esports channel. I love how smooth that was. That was actually really smooth there.
Yes, you can see you in all different roles there on the PlayStation YouTube channel. The place to check out everything, all the VODs from these, any place that you want to check out Saki in particular. If you want to see the competitions, Guilty Gear, Mortal Kombat, or whatever, any game that you want. We're just gonna keep going with this bit, but honestly, there's a lot of great stuff on there. There's recaps if you're interested in see how every single game went over the month. I know it's a lot to follow because PlayStation does tournaments for a ton of games. If you want to see some of the upcoming things, some little discussions, some guides. I know there was some really great guides coming out for stuff like Street Fighter 6, for Guilty Gear. There's just about a ton of them. I mean, even if it's not fighting games, if you're looking for shooters, there's a ton of stuff there, so check that out for sure. But another thing you're going to want to check out for sure is the end of this bracket as we're getting into the second half of it, and we're starting to see some of our players make their way into the money. King Gambler and Pain guaranteeing their way into the money, and now, wow, we were behind a little bit on the bottom side of losers, and now we are ahead there as Ghost is going to zoom through that match after Killa Cam as well, eliminating Diaz. Very impressive, but Ghost making it into the money as well, and now it's time to see, well, not live, but if Galactico or Jet makes it into the money as well.
Absolutely, and I'm actually a little surprised at Ghost taking it over Killa Cam. Killa Cam usually has a really good grasp against Jackie, especially with the Shiva variation that he uses. So this is honestly such a good performance from Ghost from literally the start. Yes, in the lower side of the bracket, but really good regardless. But let's talk about our winners finals. Now, this is going to be our first best of 5, meaning that there's more games to play. And it's going to be King Gambler versus Pain, who's actually going on the Kung Lao that we mentioned earlier. But most of the Mexico players tend to have as a back pocket.
Yeah, really strong Kung Laos too. Like I mentioned, that their meta over there is so strong, and we're not going to see. Actually, we're going to see Omega Hat and Orbiting Hat. We're not going to see the Buzzsaw, which is an option that we do see a good amount. But current Laos, there's a lot of different variations that you can end up seeing as far as how you really want to play the match. The Reptile skin, I don't know. I don't know about the skin at a personal level. I love Reptile. It's a little unsettling, I think. It's like a lizard Lao.
Absolutely. Now, of course, I think this might be one of the first times that I see King Gambler fighting against Pain at such a winners finals level. So this is going to be a fun time. I usually don't see Pain go for a Kung Lao unless it's like a mirror match or, again, going for the Jackie pick most often. That down 2 does whiff, so that was some damage that does get missed out. But still, King Gambler unfazed, able to continue the combo. And we're actually going to get the full down 2 here as well.
Ooh, this is already looking pretty rough. Yeah, that should be it. We've seen a lot of combos in the down 2. There were a lot of opportunities for Pain to break away in that game, and none of them were taken, which was pretty smart because Gambler was expecting it every single time. Regardless, though, kind of running away with it. The Lao hasn't really shown its strength. Now, if we do get a solid hit with Lao, then that's when the damage starts, the Oki starts, but so far just hasn't been able to find a good opening, and a nice whiff punish with that back 3. Down 3, such a common tool to use with that Lao. That Lao down 3 is one of the best in the game, especially Unfortunately, we've got Orbiting Hat, but it was punished well, and now finally getting some mileage of its own. Look at this damage, though. Pain's got like 2 hits in. It's already like 1/3 life left for King Gambler.
Ooh, but that anti-air attempt from King Gambler being successful. One thing also to notice here is just the movement, right? Really makes you second guess yourself. There goes that forward too as well. Now we're going to try to keep it grounded, actually utilizing and not wasting the meter on the slide amp, knowing that Pain was going to go, but the micro duff attempt, and that is going to go into Fatal Blow. I believe this should kill, considering that this Fatal Blow does scale, but it still will do enough damage, I feel.
I never guess. Oh no!
Oh
it wasn't
my
quite.
gosh!
I thought it was gonna be enough too. To be 100% honest, I thought it was gonna be enough. I just chose not to say anything because I know that every time I say it, it's wrong, and there's a reason why I don't say it anymore. But yeah, the Lao Fatal Blow is such a weird Fatal Blow in like a million different ways. So it was really nice to be able to use it in that way and actually close it out with the comeback. You're not gonna get almost very many other opportunities in the set, almost any maybe. But here we go. Crushing blow mid-screen. One of the big advantages of the Rising Ice. It's, I mean, you can do it normally with normal freeze, but it's a lot less damage and you have to switch sides. This one is just a monster. Ooh, great breakaway right there. You do not want to have to deal with that in the corner. The combo damage from Lao is ridiculous.
You do get the side switch as well from King Gambler, and that's going to push Pain back into the corner. One thing to note here, though, Pain has been really reactive on some of King Gambler's movements. That's just not allowing King Gambler to really kind of enforce, like, the scariness up close, right? This first game, though, it's going to go to King Gambler with some of the patience. A pretty aggressive Kung Lao, but honestly, I feel like that's what you kind of need to do. We've been talking about it all night with all of the matches that we've seen from King Gambler. One of the biggest things is giving too much respect will definitely let King Gambler take control of the match way quicker than you would want. Whereas with Pain has been really on top of him for most of the part. I feel like, if anything, has been losing just to those openings that King Gambler's been taking advantage of.
Yeah, I really feel like the Lao worked. I feel like I hope we see. Yeah, we're gonna lock in the Lao again. It was just down to, you know what, 30%, 40% life in one final round. So I feel like the pick is strong, and I do feel like Pain started off a little bit weak maybe in the very first round of the day. Oh, we are switching to the Buzzsaw Possessed Hat. So that was a little bit more what I expected to see, and we'll see just how experienced King Gambler is at dealing with this. I'm sure he's got some great experience, but there are very specific ways that you have to get past the buzzsaw pressure, and now it's time to see what those answers are from King Gambler.
There goes that down 2 Ender for the max damage. That down 3 has also been really good. I mean, that's such a good move, or good poke rather, for Kung Lao that allows you to really go into like the strike throw situation, and there you have it already. Pain trying to get some staggers going. But right now we see King Gambler getting the freeze and actually continue this combo into the corner carry, the forward 2, the almost like walk up forward 2 as well, into some good crushing blow damage. You're not going to be able to break away from that, so that was good usage of taking note of the meter.
Now using the bus kind of like this is like a half defense, and then I mean that's the nice thing about it, right? If you spend meter on it, it sits there. If they jump into it or dash into it, then obviously they get hit. If they don't, then now it's your turn for pressure, and that was a great way to get out of the corner from Pain. But now can you take advantage of it? We haven't really seen too much of the buzzsaw on block. Oh, this is gonna be a nice little punish. Went for just a jab punish. Wasn't expecting to use any sort of crushing blow. You can use that right there if you want to, but I guess with the defensive bar on board still, maybe wasn't the option. Still, the pressure's working out quite well. And honestly, this is really what you got to do. This is really the only way that we've seen anybody beat Gambler here, is just keep the rush down going. And that's exactly what's happening here. That might be enough. Oh, it's going to be one hit away. But yeah, the chip is going to guarantee it. Great round from Pain.
Yeah, a repeat sort of on what happened in the first game. You know, started off a little slow, takes the second round, and let's see who can close it out. I do want to say, King Gambler has been letting the, that string with the hat throwing out almost too much. Because remember, Sub-Zero has the quickest down 1. So, quite frankly, can actually stop Pain from taking advantage of that string and actually letting it rip with the down one for it. But let's see if King Gambler can keep it going. We're going to try to get that corner carry. Yes, we do. Not going to be able to punish the roll, so that does lead Pain to get out of it and into that side switch. Now we're just going to see if King Gambler can keep this momentum. Again, that's something that he thrives in, right? So you have to take advantage. Gets the grab, and now it's King Gambler's turn in the corner.
That was like the furthest range grab of all time. There we go. There's the pressure being used from the Buzzsaw. We've seen it very rarely. It's been mostly used more in the neutral. And there we go. That's it. I told you were talking about before, the 2-1. But unfortunately continues the string, which was not the safest option at all from max range. Maybe was hoping that it was going to hit, but in the end, King Gambler was more than ready for that and was able to close out at least that game as well. This is looking, honestly, again, I still feel like this is looking pretty even, but it's just been about who can close it out, and it's been Gambler every single time. I do like the call that you made about the 2-1 string being used a good amount. I know Laos love to pull that out in a lot of like neutral situations, and if you're not reacting well, it can be very hard to kind of like duck under, get the pokes, but clearly we see that Gambler's ready for it, and so we're going to see our third switch, kind of, or I guess our second switch, as we're finally getting off the character. Not a different variation this time. We're going back to upgraded Jackie.
I feel like the reason why we're going to see this switch is because we've noted it before. The first round is probably the slowest for Shiryu Pain, and that's something that you want to be on top of if you're trying to implement this more aggressive playstyle, because you get it in the second one, but now it's this first round where you're gonna have to change this pace, because obviously King Gambler's been the one that's been successful on that last round.
Ooh, all right, big first opportunity here, and this could run away a lot more than the Lau matchup. If you get this pressure going on Jackie, it could just end so quickly. Finally, gonna get a great way to pop out of the corner. The big scary thing though is that now Pain using that short command leap to get out and switch sides means there's no defensive bar for so long, and no offensive bar for a really long time as well. So any single opening that Gambler finds here is going to be just massive damage.
Alright, we do have Plasma set up, and this is going to be Grease Kicks into dot damage. Great setup from Pain. Well, actually probably one of the best options, considering that was big damage, and the dot damage just pretty much even on King Gambler's health. Able to block just in time, recovering from the back two, and now it's King Gambler who's trying to get out of the corner. Pain getting frozen in the mix as well. And this is just going to be flawless block off of the wake up 3, and King Gambler is already looking solid.
Oh, more than solid. Wow, just didn't even commit to that. Just went for the full string right there. Maybe hoping for like a crushing blow to be able to end that out a little bit easily. But all right, the opportunity to turn around is here. Like I mentioned, this is a very volatile match. We saw it earlier, and it can turn around in a split second. One grounded hit here, and it is over. It is far more than over. Now, especially, got to be careful not to get even clipped once. The flawless block was beautiful right there, but no full pickup nor full conversion off the forward 1-2. The grab is going to set up a potential checkmate, and that is going to be the first game on board for Pain. Never letting up with the pressure, never letting King Gambler get that comeback.
The actual patience, right? Like, this is something too that, like, you can give a little bit of respect, but look at that setup at the end, right? Using the Plasma, calling out the attempt on King Gambler to wake up 2, and letting the Plasma actually eat away on the health is a great way of showing that, like, we're still being aggressive, but we're also still being mindful that what King Gambler is trying to do as far as wake up habits are concerned.
Yeah, patience is so much in this match, right? But the thing is, like, patience and then knowing when to strike, because if you just don't ever swing, you eventually just lose. So it's such a tough balance. There's a reason why we see this matchup so much at a high level, and it's not just the fact that both these characters are good, but it really like forces both of these characters, or both the players piloting the characters, to have to make decisions. And if you force your opponent to make decisions and you feel better about your decisions, then you win the game. That sounds like an obvious thing to say, but honestly, there's a lot of times where you can kind of like play a character's game, and sometimes that will win the game. Not in this one. You always are having to guess in this matchup.
Absolutely. Now, this is, what a great start from that 2 flawless block, by the way. That set up a great advantage for King Gambler. Now, let's see, though, if King Gambler, there's no punish off of the slide, And that's also crucial here too as well. Like, once the Gambler starts playing a little crazy, you have to be on top of it. But that is an escape failed loaded on for King Gambler. And there it goes, the block attack punish again with the flawless block up 2. This is perfect for the momentum, the snowball effect that is King Gambler. And we also gonna load up that ice slide as well.
Yeah, that was perfect. Getting rid of the defensive bar, going for the full combo, being able to use the meter to build up the crushing blow a little bit more and put them back in the corner. Like, that was just exactly the amount of damage needed to make that an optimal round. And so very much match point here for King Gambler, as already Pain is down about half HP. And that is going to be, a tough spot to fight back from, I was saying, but that's a really good way to start it. No more defensive bar on the side of King Gambler now, as Pain's going to earn it back. So we've got to make sure that you don't get hit at all. Uh-oh. Oh, go straight for the crushing blow. Yo, that's sick. That was so smart to keep it completely unbreakable. Exactly like I was saying. The defensive bar built up right before that combo hit. Anything that we got to see from King Gambler right there would not have been enough to guarantee a 100% kill, except for that. Genius stuff from King Gambler. Well deserved to close that out in winners finals.
Oh, that was such a good usage of that loaded crushing blow on that throw. We haven't been seeing it the entire match, and quite on purpose actually, because it comes in very clutch, does a lot of damage. I always say this, I feel like Sub-Zero's crushing blow is almost equal to Fatal Blow, just with some of those hits, because it does so much and it's perfect for situations like that. I mean, that's probably the 3rd or 4th time we've seen where, you know, Sub-Zero's been taking advantage of the Oki situations after certain knockdowns and certain moves after they hit. So, amazing job. Let's take a look at this bracket, as it is going to get updated, and we're going to go ahead and see Pain the rest in losers finals. While we are going to see Jet and Ghost. We were talking about this earlier, Wonder Chef. This is a match you wanted to see as well.
It is. I'm getting my wish. I feel like this is going to be a really good one. We've seen a lot of Jackie today. We're going to see some more Jackie. I'm not sure exactly who Jet's going to pull out against the Jackie. I'd have to assume it's the Joker. Another one of those matchups that we see a lot of people kind of go to, even if you're not a main necessarily of the characters. So the Jade might be one that comes out. But regardless, I feel like this is going to be a really good match just based on what we've seen from both of them. This might be a close one. And then the winner having to go up against Pain. Our top 4 is stacked, but again, we are now set with our top 4. So congratulations to all of these players left: Jet, Ghost, Pain, and Gambler for being in the money today. Congratulations to our other players as well for making it as far as they were. But now you definitely want more than that 4th place money if you made it there, especially if you're a player like Jet, who has won these tournaments before. You're going to want that 1st place prize. Ghost with a great first showing so far, but wants to make it a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, and this is where we kind of see these higher octane matches where the stakes are higher, the reward is higher, and also the characters are on this higher level, right? So this is going to be Jet with the Joker versus Ghost and Jackie. Now, because this is still in our losers semis, this is going to be a best of 3. So that means it's actually first to 2, leading into less matches for the series.
Right, and we are going to see the Jade come back. Air Razorang, we've got the Deadly Assassin extended string off the back too, and the Delia's Dance for the pressure. So this is going to be interesting to see how this works out. One big thing to note in this matchup, there was a point in time where I know Sonic Fox was saying that this may be a tough matchup for Jackie, because if you get glow off, the air blast does not work. Your combos have to be different, your pressure has to be different. But the big issue so far when people have tried that is how do you even get the glow off in a situation where that does end up mattering. So we'll see if this works out. We're going to see the reptile skin number 2 of the day, as we're going to see the Jade version of it. And this is, like you mentioned, a 2 out of 3. So this Jade pick is a big commitment.
One of my favorite skins, by the way. I love this skin very much. When you put a mask on it, it really fits her. But there goes that 2-1-2 string to get some spacing. This is another matchup that I actually do believe it really makes it even. Maybe not as even as like the Kodo versus Jackie, right? But one of the better characters to really tame Jackie, especially in the air. So I'm actually curious to see what Jet is trying to do when it comes to this variation. And we are already seeing the Razorangs going ahead and keep confirming. Oh my gosh! The forward 2 from max range. We're gonna hit confirm into Fatal Blow. Now, because this is 950, it is still gonna scale, but it puts Jet in a great position to get the Razor Rang out.
Forward 2 into Fatal Blow Raw neutral. This is 2019, baby. We are going back. No, hey, you know what? It's worked since 2019. Honestly, it's a great option. And from that range, it was basically impossible to punish as well. So definitely worth throwing out just as a check. This time around, though, Ghost is saying no more of that. Nice, blocks the down 2, and oh no, what was that? That was, wait, it was glow up? Well, I actually didn't even see why that down 2 ended up connecting. I guess I should pay more attention.
And a great down 2 off of that one as well. Actually hit confirming into the Nitro Kick. We're going to go for the double Nitro Kick as well. That is such a risky, crushing blow. But when you hit it, it's so satisfying. And Jet's going to take this first game with a different dominance with the Jade than we saw before, right? It looks like this is probably the better pick here in this matchup.
Yeah, it's working very, very well. Again, I talked about this earlier, but one of the big things of how people deal with Jackie is if you can control the air, and Jade can for sure control the air, whether it's with down 2 being a lot easier of an answer to a lot of the kind of air mix-ups that you get as Jackie, especially in the neutral. Like, you don't have to guess if they're going to stop their leap a little bit short with an air blast, because the down 2 is just going to hit regardless. The air-to-airs are great with Jade. The fact that you have the razor rings, can't say that word, that can air-to-air extremely well as well, just because that angle is so obnoxiously good. You can, of course, get a combo off of them as well if they do air-to-air. So it's a lot harder for the mobility of Jackie to kind of do the mobility of Jackie things that we're used to seeing. It's kind of showing off. I think we're gonna have to see a much slower grounded approach here from Ghost, and just no relent on the offense once it starts.
I couldn't agree more with you. What a great usage of the Racer as well to punish the roll, using the amp to actually catch Ghost off guard. You're absolutely correct. I think the biggest thing here about with Jade and in this matchup, it's all about playing perfectly, right? And we're seeing Jet do that exquisitely well, whereas if Ghost is actually implementing more mistakes than before. Does trying to get the down 2, probably hoping to catch a high move, but here's those Razor Rings again that if you don't know how to properly block them, you're gonna get stuck in that mid-screen range quite often, and that down 2 is gonna seal the deal for the first round.
Yeah, this is looking like maybe, you know, I don't want to make the call, but maybe a little bit of matchup unfamiliarity with Ghost. Maybe hasn't run into as many Jades. There are a lot less Jades nowadays than there were back in the past. Oh my gosh, that was also very much a like a ranked Jade move right there. The little drop into down 2 and getting that crushing blow fully. So this is match point here. Ghost has to fight really hard to make it back, and honestly, not quite being in Fatal Blow territory is rough. That means that you're gonna have to just do full combos until you get shit down a little bit more. Maybe honestly, if there's an opportunity to take a projectile, it might be worth it. Or, well, there you go, you're in there for now for sure.
Yeah, this is where Jet can probably stay a little bit back. Doesn't have the meter for it, but the down 2 on reaction from the leap, and Ghost wasn't even close enough to try to go for a jump 2, or even having the ability to actually go for goop there, because Jade's down 2, one of the best down 2s in the game. Yes, she needs it. I don't want to hear anybody in the chat. She needs it. It's gonna work for Jet's favor. 2-0 against Ghost.
Once upon a time, we said you don't play footsies with Jade, you play down 2sies, and that was certainly the case right there. That was a really surprisingly dominant match. I did not expect that the Jade pick was going to go that way. I didn't expect we were going to get the Jade pick, but clearly Jet is trying to go at least somewhat all in on this Jade and add it to the roster, so it's very cool to see, and going to earn a 3rd place spot at minimum with that. Congratulations again, though, Ghost. Maybe the first showing on these PlayStation tournaments, maybe there was some other that I missed, but for sure one of the first ones, and getting that 4th place spot against a stacked tournament like this, not the easiest thing at all in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. A great showing. I definitely think that this could be a mixture of just the unfamiliarity with Jade, also as well as, you know, Jet was playing pretty well and perfect, right? Whereas Ghost was playing, I feel like, still on the layer 2, layer 3 version of Jackie, and we didn't see as much attempts to go for some of the more baiting anti-airs. Also, you have to remember again too, if you're not conscious of how to block the Razors, they can dominate the field quite extensively, where it gets it actually gets super overwhelming. Also, I want to point out, Jet was actually doing some optimized combos, especially off of that down 2 crushing blow where we saw the extended strings as well. That's really well versed, because that tells you how well you know Jade, and again, very much happy to see it. It's a great pick. And now I'll lead Jet to fight against Shirley Payne, who will be a best of 5 match for your losers finals.
Yep, best of 5 all the way through, so this should be some good matches. And we do know that now we can say that pretty much all of these top 3 definitely have other characters. I don't expect that we're going to see specifically King Gambler switch to another character, but we know that everybody here does have other characters. So the potential of 3 out of 5 is always bigger when you have people that have the counter pick possibilities. And I think if we're going to see it in one match, it's probably going to be the next one that we're going to be seeing, which will be that losers finals match. As already today we've seen from Payne, what is it? Well, just 2 different characters, actually. We've only seen the Kodal and the Lao, but we've known from other tournaments that there's many, many more on top of that. And now we've got both the Jade available and the Joker available for Jet. So there's a big question mark as to what we're going to end up seeing. And honestly, I mean, it seems like we're going to at least attempt the Jade is my best guess. Seeming that we saw it first there, and now it's 3 out of 5. I feel like it's a lot safer to start off with a Jade pick if that's kind of what you're going for this whole tournament. And I mean, this is a great place to kind of get your tournament experience with these characters and just get your feeling for how you want to use them in what matchups. So I do think we're probably going to get Jade, and on the other side we might get the Kodal again. The Kodal was looking really, really strong, and it's such a solid first pick. We might get the Cabal, we might get the Jackie. It's like a total toss-up for me. Payne, you play too many characters.
I agree there on terms of character variety. There's quite a bit that Payne can choose from. Truthfully though, I actually feel that Payne will probably go the Kodal route. And this is actually a tricky situation for Jet, because if you go Jade, even though you have like a great move like back 2, that is definitely something that stubs forward 2 from Kodokan, but you don't have the damage to really get hit onto Kodokan, right? And then of course you have Joker, but we kind of saw how Payne is very much comfortable against more of these stronger air mobility characters, because again, this is a character, Kodokan, that does really well with the anti-airs and also with just the movesets in of itself. So I actually feel like we might see the Kodokan against Jet. I know that this is a matchup that we have seen before, especially around this time of the bracket, which is in the losers finals, losers semis. So it would not surprise me if we do, but you're absolutely correct. You have more games. You can play around with the character roster just a little bit. You're not necessarily locked in right away. It's more after game 2, game 3 that kind of gets a little dicey in terms of how you can really choose your characters. So I'm actually curious to see how Jet's going to be able to respond to Payne. Payne's been playing phenomenally throughout the winner's side. Very aggressive, which is something that I think that's been the highlight of today's matches, is that the more aggressive player has come out on top.
Yeah, there's been very little, like, I mean, I guess we saw oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. We saw at least one player play pretty defensive today. Oh my god, why am I blanking? I'm just gonna look at the bracket. Sorry, Galactico. I didn't even see the bracket. I just remembered. I swear. I genuinely did. But Galactico playing pretty defensively. But aside from that, it's been pretty much all offense the rest of today. It's been a very, very aggressive day. It's been a lot of 2-0s. It's been pretty fast. Now, this is our first little delay. I think we're still getting these players into the lobby, and I think that, you know, maybe we just finished a game with Jet. So maybe Jet had to do something really quick, but we'll see. And one thing that I was going to mention as well is that both of these players have been both knocked into losers by King Gambler. So first of all, King Gambler's got to be happy about that. You always got to be happy if you're like, well, doesn't matter who I play, somebody already beat this tournament. But on the other side, that means that both of them are kind of fighting with a vengeance, because as we all know, if you're fighting a player, there's nothing more, I guess, there's nothing that gives you more motivation than Salt, right? Salt is always you want the run back. Like, I can't believe I lost to them that way. I should have won that match. I want my run back. Number one motivator, and only one of these two actually gets that chance.
Yeah, so this is that Jade pick that we were talking about earlier against Payne's Kodal. Not surprising. Again, I feel like that's probably the best character to overcome what Jet Ring has. Jet Ring also plays a plethora of characters, by the way, so not surprising that this is what that pick is. Biggest thing here, and I've spoken to Kotal Khan mains quite often about this, the back two is going to come into play really well. If you can dominate that back two, definitely don't start off the round with the Nitro pick. That's something you don't want to do. And already the armor is going to break for 40%. The health points are just gone.
And yeah, just to point out as well, well, there we go. Thank you. Exactly what I was going to say. Totem was chosen this time around, so we could see some pretty big damage. But right now it's going to be one totem into the command grab already. The damage is unbelievable, just from getting those first two hits. Then the crushing blow is huge. Also, the down 4 into the unblockable, guaranteed for anybody who doesn't know out there. It is essentially a true combo. There's no way to get out of it, but oh, that's gonna connect. This is a huge risk, right? You want to make the comeback, but this is not even going to even up the life bars. This is going to still be a huge lead for Pain, especially with all the extra HP that Kotal has. And now, if you get hit one more time, suddenly you lost that resource for absolutely nothing. I mean, I appreciate the confidence, but all right, hold on. This comeback actually for sure could happen.
This is actually a really good, solid comeback. I think Pain was a little too comfortable. There goes the 4-2, though. It's going to stop Jet from jumping. I felt like it was a little too comfortable there with the Suns. I get it, though. I mean, you're definitely there. You didn't have to really overextend, but that's something that you have to be mindful, right? You don't want to get too comfortable where you're letting Jet get away with the game plan, like so here with the back three into Delia's. And this is going to be a throw escape from Pain, but still not able to get out of this corner. There goes a down 2 with, actually, because of so close, gonna have to take out Pain, but the side switch, the 4-2 whipping completely under that Razor.
Ooh, back in the corner. This is huge, actually. This is going to be a lot of damage. It's going to be a damage buffer. We're going to set up a totem. No, just going to go for the pressure. Oh, the instant jump kick. What the heck was that? I mean, it worked. That was weird. That was like an MKX instant overhead jump kick. But whatever it was, this is still going to be really tough for Pain. Got to get so many hits in here without taking a single one yourself. Oh, and that string, actually, the 2-1-2 does connect in a weird way. The one whiffs, but the final hit of it does manage to juggle. And so the Jade, not looking bad, doing quite well, even without that fatal blow left.
Now, that was a great way to kind of like end the round in terms of how far it actually pushed Jet back. Now, this keeps Pain inside the corner. You're going to see the command grab. You're going to actually not take the side switch. Actually taking Jet out of the corner. And here, Pain can still pretty much rest comfortably, taking out the Sun. That is going to be a full punish, though, for Jet. Getting hurt by the Sun, burned by it very slowly, and look at this damage right now that Pain's going to implement from the command grab. Still not using it to put Jet in the corner, but the discus is going to catch those toe loops.
I feel like that maybe was a little bit of an ego round, you know, a little bit of a taunting round, where there were a lot of situations where the Sun Ray was not necessarily the best option, but I felt like Pain wanted to win that way. Like, we saw the knockdown and then backed up into a punishable range Sunray, and then got the command grab and threw out of the corner into Sunray. It's like, okay, I feel like that's just really how you want to win at this point. You're kind of just making a statement, which, hey, this is going to be a pretty long set, so winning in a way like that to maybe get into your opponent's head can be very, very strong. And, I mean, it works. So, yeah, there we go. All the way back to Joker now. The Jade was attempted, and honestly it was working quite well, just didn't quite close it out, but Jet Ring no longer wants to take that risk. Fully understandable. I kind of felt like that was what we were going to see this tournament. Like, you know, you try the Jade, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, then it's going to be back to the Joker. So this is going to be a much better time kind of challenging the range of Kotal, I think, and more importantly challenging the damage.
Yes. Also, I would honestly say a more versatile in the air as well as range still maintaining. Like, look at this mid here, exactly where you want to be. Plus, you're going to get a lot of damage, even if it's 28%. You force the breakaway, and you're already chipping at the health of Kotal Khan. And what a difference, truthfully, what a difference between the Jade and the Joker for the Jet.
Yeah, already, I mean, just a huge lead. I did love that down 4 to get underneath the forward 2 and then essentially quote-unquote comboing into the guaranteed resetting into the unblockable. But we still are on the damage totem, and it's going to be a lot easier, I think, to find opportunities to throw this out against Joker if you can get a knockdown. Right now, though, it might not matter. Oh, yeah, I just held the parry. Wow, I swung into the parry? That's actually really bad. That might be a huge, huge mistake right here. We are now maybe one command grab away from potentially ending this. Oh, no. Okay, maybe not quite enough. It's going to be maybe Sunray guaranteed. No, not even that. You got to guess again. Great block on the overhead. The instant jump 3, a short hop 3. That is going to be almost a comeback. That was scary. All for swinging that parry.
Yeah, that parry can be a little dangerous, especially since I've seen, like, what's the answer for it sometimes? I've heard, like, it's throw, but I even think the parry sometimes takes the throw. But regardless, the defense on Jet, this is such a different game compared to that first one, where we're really seeing Jet play and take control of just the entire game. What a flawless block up to as well. That was pretty much almost a flawless, with just taking some poke damage, and that was it.
Wow, yeah, a huge turnaround, very big difference from the Jade. Of course, that was almost a pretty amazing comeback on the side of Pain, but got closed out a little bit early, got shut down before it could fully come to fruition. And so the Joker, as expected, looking stronger. I mean, Joker is Jet's main for a long time, has been for a long time, and is also probably considered a considerably stronger character than Jade. Obviously, there are some great Jade players out there, like Scar, like we've been talking about, which is the kind of variation name that Jet's been using, but overall the Joker just feels like the pick, and now it's Pain's opportunity to potentially counterpick with yet another character. We're just going to keep seeing different ones over and over and over, and this one's going to be the Kano. I do like this one though, and I have seen it from Pain before. We're going to go with the Pirate Kano, also a big winner in my eyes, but what's the variation is the question.
You know, this is another pick that actually does really well, and I'm not surprised. I've seen Pain actually go for the Kano. This is actually chemical pull as well as the magnetic. So this is pretty much, hey, if you get that chemical and that Molotov, woo, it is not going to be a fun time. So, quite honestly, this is a great response to Jet's Joker, and I'm actually really excited, already seeing some of that damage going through.
Yeah, weirdly, we saw this era of like, wait, Kano might be like one of the best in the game, and then a lot of the Kano players just stopped playing. So, big weird situation that kind of happened, and I don't think anybody ever really stopped thinking that Kano was amazing, but we just saw less Kanos. Like players like Bio kind of stopped competing, which is unfortunate. Love to see Bio, but still obviously really strong. And if there's one situation in the game that's the strongest, it's this exact one, where you are now trapped in the corner for basically forever. And oh no, we accidentally got forward 2. We know that usually means there was an attempted down back forward 2, the command grab, which would have worked, but instead this might be over.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The short hop though is going to be able to take it and steal it away from Pain. Very nicely done from Jet. Again, the clutch defense has been working out very well, and I think that, you know, we were talking about how Pain was doing an excellent job of trying to be aggressive to Team Gambler, but now you probably need to slow it down here and actually start playing a little more observantly, especially against a character like Joker.
Oh, try to pull back in. I like that. You're just like, what are you gonna do? Punish me? You actually might be able to punish with the kapow, with the boxing gloves. That might be able to like get something going, at least some damage while the fire is still there. I'm not sure exactly how that interaction works, but we might see it in this rest of this set. Still, Pain's getting some hits here and there. They just haven't been able to find the maximum damage hits that they want, and you're not really gonna get that until you get to the corner. Usually with Kano, especially this variation of Kano, not the biggest, you know, you're not going to have like Snake Bite or any sort of other really big launchers. So right now, Pain just has to slowly make their way in, and they've got Fatal Blow, but it's a tough path.
This is a very tough path. Oh, the Jack in the Box exploding right in time. And then, of course, the sweep is how Jet's going to clean it up. Taking it 2-1 at the moment. Still has one more game potentially to seal this series, but I love it. I truly am enjoying the Joker pick a lot more than the Jade pick for this, and actually is dominating against Pain, both of the strongest characters that Pain has, I feel.
Yeah, this is, I mean, the nice thing about Pain is that like there can be kind of like a a matchup that you can choose, even if it's not like the strongest, that's just good against a player in particular. But I just don't know what that would be at this point. Payne is going to have to, all right, going to go back to the Kodal, I guess. I felt like the Kino was kind of going okay, but the big problem that we ran into kind of in both of these matchups is that Jet Ring has just been getting so much damage off of everything, which is a Joker classic. Of course, one of the practically highest damage characters in the game. And so you just got to find some damage. All right, we're going to see a difference here. The totem has been switched out for the Taquani Maul, which is the cat dash attack, and that it can be a little bit scary to just use in raw if people know how to deal with it, and I'm sure that we know that Jet knows how to deal with it, so we'll see if that's any different this time around. But just need one more win here and Jet's gonna move to grand finals.
Indeed, and I do agree with the cat. I think that's going to be a great way to counter some of the Jack in Box. But the crucial question here is, how are you going to set that up when you have Jet in your face the entire time? And look at this just corner dominance right now. This is pretty much down one. Centro, you're going to be able to kill with the Opties. Actually, no, not going to use the meter for it. And that might be a questionable take there, but nope, the up 2 is going to clean it up.
Yeah, probably just had the confidence that was going to be kind of a guaranteed KO anyway. But that was a little bit scary. It's scary to give anybody an opportunity at this level, especially when you're playing a high damage character like Total Khan, or a high comeback potential character, I should say. But wow, this is just looking so good for Jet. I mean, not a huge damage lead this time, losing the damage game, and now he's the one in the corner. So if Payne's going to get a comeback, this is going to be the opportunity to do it. But this is match point for Jet. And oh, that's a great way to get out of the corner and getting damage. And the best thing about that is you can't break it away earlier. They still get max damage. The cat has been working out a lot, though, I gotta say.
I agree. Right now, the Jets actually picking this up, already putting Payne into the Fatal Blow territory, and actually catching the Discus on the startup. And this is going to be full optimal combo as Jet's going to take the rematch against King Gambler to go to Grand Finals.
Very nice, yeah, earning that rematch in a very dominant way, to be honest. It just seemed like, I mean, Payne had the answers, but it felt like maybe Payne was a little bit, how do I put it? I don't want to say complacent, like maybe feeling a little bit too secure after that first win against the Jade, and was like, oh yeah, I got this. This is going to be fine. And then just wasn't able to kind of adapt to that jump back to the Joker. It was like, whoa, hold on a minute. Now I gotta deal with this, and like, wait, which character do I even want to use here? So it might have just been one of those things where it's like, it's like you get a little bit mixed up and you never quite get off your back foot. But regardless, like I said, this is not at all a surprise that we end up seeing this. One of our first round matches as a rematch of Grand Finals now was King Gambler versus Jet. You can see it right there. It was 2-0 for King Gambler's favor in the second game of the day. Jet going all the way down, defeating Quicks, defeating Galactico, defeating Ghost, defeating Payne for the ultimate losers bracket run, and now has, you know, one more decent little opponent in the way.
You know, it's awesome to see Jet like really survive the loser side. If you look at how this just went pretty much 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 up until beating Payne in this losers finals and actually taking it 3-1. So right now, going back to King Gambler, Jet's pretty warmed up, I would say, right?
Yes, for sure. That is one big thing when somebody's making a great like bracket run down through the losers bracket, the lower bracket like that, is that they just get to hold on to this momentum. And the other big thing too is that we did see Jet start off with the Jade in a lot of these matches, and the Jade has been the one that's lost the most. So now that we're back in the grand finals, I don't know if we're going to see the Jade as the first pick again. It seems like maybe this is one of those moments where the the kind of experiment, the theme of the day has kind of run its course. You've already got the experience that you wanted, already tried it against King Gambler earlier in the bracket, so maybe this is a time where you're like, you know what, we're not going to worry about that anymore. I got exactly what I wanted out of it, but it's time to win.
Yeah, and just a heads up, this is going to be a best of 5, but this is also where our double elimination bracket reset rules can come into play. Essentially, Jet Ring's going to need to win at minimum 3 matches to initiate the bracket reset, for King Gambler to go on his own losers run and reface it against Jet Ring. where then if Jet Ring really wants to take this, has to win the 6 games.
Easy, no issue at all. No, this is going to be a very tough road for Jet Ring, but we've known that it's possible. King Gambler, however, though, honestly, King Gambler's been playing so well today, more than even usual, I feel. Like, King Gambler always plays quite well, but sometimes King Gambler has a little bit of a slow start in whether it be like a set or a day. That's why we do see the huge losers bracket runs, in my opinion. But today it's just been 100% like fire the entire time, or ice, I should say. So we'll see if that just continues. We could see like a 3-0 if King Gambler's been playing as well as he has been so far.
Absolutely. And right now, there goes this jump in from King Gambler. Is going to be able to hit confirm into the ice ball. And Jet actually utilizing the breakaway early on, not even letting the slide come out, but that slide switch is going to happen. And this is going to be a great crushing blow for King Gambler. And this is 950 health Joker, so honestly, this is chip out situation. You can play defensively, you have the health for it. Let's keep you in the corner as well.
Already starting off strong. That was, we were talking about how the momentum from the player who just won the losers finals, and especially if they've been making a huge run, is usually strong to begin with. They're a little bit more warmed up. They've just got off of a great win, and the person in grand final has been waiting a little bit, but King Gambler is starting off with infinite momentum, basically. That's going to be a great throw to get back in the corner at the very minimum. So now Jet's going to have to really keep Gambler in here, and that's not the way to do it. I mean, the flows block was nice, but kind of playing leapfrog.
Yep, leapfrog indeed. Now, again, Jet's gonna have to do a lot more than just play the Jack-in-the-Box game and actually go for some throws here. It does allow, though, King Gambler to be in the corner, but one thing we've seen from King Gambler is he's got the flawless blocks, he's got the jump-ins, and this is a great way to keep it going. Once again, getting the down 2, taking out Jet out of that corner. Not going to be able to tech this. It's going to be the forward throw into the crushing blow. It's a great damage from Jet to start evening up the life bar. And that's going to put King Gambler into Fatal Blow territory as well. But Jet's also in Fatal Blow territory too.
Oh, and using the cancel again once it's back up. There's a reason why we say that Joker with Fatal Blow is the ultimate comeback character. The fact that you get potentially multiple times to use that cancel to get the crushing blows, to get combos. Right there, it was used in 2 different ways, and none of them were even it just hitting, and it was able to get the comeback. So now we're still going to have Fatal Blow on board for whenever Jet gets low in this game. So great way to make it a comeback, but King Gambler was right there. Just needed that one more hit. Righty kind of playing a little bit safer than maybe we're used to seeing.
Yeah, this is definitely dicey right now for these two. It's been a back and forth slugfest though. Like, it has not been easy for the either, as both players are definitely taking advantage of the characters' comeback tools that they are well known for, and has also great defense from these two as well. We've been talking about it all night tonight. Once you give Gambler too much respect, that's where it gets a little scary. But there goes this crushing blow from the eye slide, and again, the down 4 will be able to take it for King Gambler.
Yeah, that down 4 is so key in this matchup. The range of the normals on Joker is so good, but there are a lot of them, like for example, like standing 2 or forward 1, they do have the ability to kind of get low profiles sometimes, and down 4 with Sub-Zero is one of the best options that you could possibly have for that. So we're definitely going to see a lot of that from King Gambler when they're at that range. There's not going to be a lot of really great counterplay. The down 4 exists as well for Joker, but it's a lot slower. It's got a great hitbox, but it's hard to challenge in the exact down 4 to down 4 match. Ooh, is this real? We're gonna see. I don't know if I've ever seen
wow.
Jet Ring Jackie.
I actually fought against Jet Ring Jackie, but this was such a long time ago before Joker came out. This was like honestly Jet Ring when he was still on Devora, and then he's like, you know what, Devora is too much. Let me just take out the Jackie. But that's how far back it was. This is like season 2 of Jet Ring, essentially.
That's wild. I mean, I'm impressed to see it. Wow, we did see the Spawn Jackie skin as well. I still don't really fully understand why Jackie got the Spawn skin, but we may never know, 100% honest. And I'm excited to see how this goes. I mean, Jettering may be going on a little bit of a like a character exploration arc, maybe. I mean, it's a good way to put it. And we have seen, though, the problem here is that we've seen already King Gambler be so good against Jackie, so you have to be excellent to even stand a chance in this matchup.
I don't usually see King Gambler losing the advantage of the freeze, and while it doesn't really mean that that was a big loss opportunity, it does mean that that leaves Jackie alive longer, right? So definitely quite surprising, but it does happen, and now we're just going to see if King Gambler can take it back up. A little bit on the health deficit, and yep, there goes Jet setting up the plasma nice and early, and going for the throw, doing a little bit more damage thanks to the dot damage.
Ooh, the freeze from all the way across the screen, and yeah, that's gonna be, wow, no defensive breakaway right there, but a breakaway that gets punished. And hold on, this is looking pretty good for Jet. Maybe the Jackie's more than just a little bit of an off pick right now. That was a great read right there. I mean, there was really no way to get out of that. It's just that King Gambler maybe just didn't expect that that would be the commitment. Pretty surprising, but so far, it's looking like Jet's doing pretty strong.
Very strong indeed. I would say also too, this leaves with King Gambler just getting back that first defensive meter. So something that we're not really used to seeing from King Gambler is losing those defensive meters, and also like using the breakaway that early, right? But it's still pretty early. This is also still the second game. There goes the 4-2, but Jet was a little bit too early on the whip punish, so that's why those blows traded. And King Gambler trying to actually interact on the air-to-air. There goes the throw tech with the dash punch coming in.
What is going on, Jets? Jackie looking amazing. Okay, hold on a minute, though. We've seen this before. King Gambler can turn this all the way around. Huge mid-juggle rising ice combo, and that's going to be the risk. I'm surprised we didn't see it straight into the fatal blow. That would have probably been enough, and maybe it was a little bit safer, but the attempt was there. The comeback did not happen, and Jet putting a game on board with Jackie. Very unexpected in my eyes.
A great pick, though. That really kind of frazzled King Gambler there for a moment, and it's more than likely simply because of the fact that now you're playing against a different pressure character, the more versatile character in the air. So I'm actually very happy with that pick for Jettering. Again, not a pick that we usually have seen before from him, and instead showing off very well.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of surprise picks from a lot of different players today. A lot of different characters that we didn't expect to see, even though we maybe know that they've had some experience with them, just across the board from round one of the tournaments all the way here, and it's just going to continue. And King Gambler, though, like I mentioned, noticeably very strong against Jackie. Has done very well against the top Jackies that we've seen, but just a little bit lost in that last one. A little bit maybe caught off guard, like you mentioned. I think it just has to come down to King Gambler just getting this offense going back again. And yeah, this is looking a lot more comfortable already.
Yeah, sometimes that happens with competitive players. Once you realize, oh, this is how you're playing? Okay, let me just adapt here real quick. I got you.
I gotta say too, the variation name, I just realized hijinks. So we got the Scar variation, we got the hijinks variation. It's pretty. This is just Shang Tsung. Maybe Jet's just playing Shang Tsung today, secretly. I'm sure we've seen Shang for a while. Wow, that looked like almost that was gonna be like kind of meaty and safer, but still punishable by the jab, and much better round from King Gambler this time around. Like I said, looking like the adaptation has been somewhat made, and now has the corner as well as everything else. Oh no, the world's worst input error, the classic Jackie input error. Forward 3 into up blast, or just raw up blast. That was supposed to be a forward 1 from crouch, and that can be the end of the that is ended tournament runs for sure.
Okay, some good punishes here. Not gonna be able to actually hit confirm. Was probably a little scared to actually continue the combos in those situations, but this is again great opportunity for Gambler, and using the down 2 again as the ender for some of these, gonna avoid the back 2 as well, Now King Gambler's gonna take care of the air-to-air. Did not have the meter. We're gonna go for the down one though. Your armor doesn't mean that you're invincible to damage. Just means that you're invincible to the hit advantage. And that is gonna allow King Gambler to take it with that down one and take it to game 4. If I do math correctly.
It's one of the numbers that's after 3. I don't know. It gets confusing there to me. That's as far as I can go. But honestly, this is looking a lot better for King Gambler. I'm wondering if we're going to see, the switch back to the Joker. The jacket looked really good, and then it looked like maybe it got a little bit overwhelmed. But also, that just tends to happen against Sub-Zero. It can be an overwhelming matchup regardless of who you're playing. So we're going to lock into the Joker for the rest of this pre-reset set. We're going to still have to see Jet win 2 more matches before the reset happens, but King Gambler just needs to win 1 more and he'll be our tournament champion here. And it's looking pretty good for that to happen, I feel. Just based on what we've seen against Jet Ring so far today, currently 2-0 against the Joker in games, and this is going to be a potential 3rd. We've got to see some sort of big adaptation here from Jet.
Yeah, I say this often when I see players switching back and forth to characters so much. It definitely shows that you're kind of frazzled because you're trying to figure out the answer to King Gambler right now in this situation. And you're either going back to your main, to your loyal and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do, or you're going back to some of these more, I would say, out of, like, pocket characters that you haven't played in a while. And this is honestly where King Gambler's mental just is so good because he's ready to adapt to everything at this point. And whereas Jet's the one that, like, okay, now I gotta try to readapt with this character and see if I can make it through. So even though the Joker's great, that's still a lot of games you're gonna have to make this comeback with.
And can I point out also, I just realized this variation is called Law Corridor, so it's just every variation name is just a different player for the character. I haven't seen Law Corridor play for a while, but this is looking pretty even. It's looking a lot better than the previous matchups, I think, with the Joker in this tournament, at least so far, for Jet versus Gambler. And corner positioning is going to be huge here. There is that little interactable you can kind of use to get out if you really want to, if you want to spend all those resources, but oh, little hit, no big conversion. Oh, this is Fatal Blow immediately? Is this enough? I'm not going to make the call. I refuse to make the call.
I think this will be enough. I think this will be enough. And if it's not, I mean, there's 9 seconds on the clock as well. Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
950 health as well. Remember, this is 950 health.
That's right. That is true. That is true. I constantly forget that, to be honest. I constantly 100% of the time forget that. And I wonder if that maybe would not have killed if that was on a full 1,000 life character. But regardless, a great call out, knows exactly how to get that and puts himself on match point. Already landing a few combos as well. But King Gambler's going to have to get out of this corner before anything gets started. And I just realized that was the overhead. Wait a minute, are we playing like a different variation here or something? I feel like we never get to see that overhead. Yeah, I apparently was just not paying attention enough to the variations.
Yeah, so what we were seeing before was the leap, and I think that that overhead is what replaced the leap now. So, and we also have the low too. That's also something to keep in mind here because that's a variation move in of itself. Now this does force Jet into the breakaway situation, and this is where King Gambler is going to be looking really nice. Here we go to continue the combo, gets the crushing blow, and that is all King Gambler wrote as King Gambler takes it 3-1 in this grand finale. We're going to get some ice cream, Wonder Chef. Let's get some of that ice cream.
Oh yeah, love ice cream. It's perfect time for ice cream, middle of the summer. I'm about to go get some after this, I think. Maybe Sub-Zero will give me a flavor that's not just ice, because I don't think that's going to be super great. But great stuff to King Gambler. It's just a dominant tournament today. Just absolutely dominant. We've seen even times that Gamblers won these tournaments before. It has been close with a lot of these matches, and even a lot of these players that we've seen in the bracket today. But King Gambler, I mean, maybe just getting ready for EVO that's coming up in a little bit under a month is just currently looking like he is on fire, and that is just going to continue on. So I'm really excited to see how he does at that tournament, as well as any of these other players that make it there, but certainly earned this win by a mile.
Absolutely. And once again, let's take a look at this bracket here. So congratulations to the top 4. Congratulations to King Gambler for taking the win in first place, Jet in second, third, Shryra Pain, and then fourth, Ghost. And then, of course, congratulations to everyone in the top 8 as well. Galactico and Killa Cam will be going home as 5th. and Quicks and Diaz will be going home in 7th. Honestly, when you're here at the PlayStation Fight Nights, just the fact that you gotten through all of those qualifiers and you make it here into the Invitational says a lot. So congratulations to the players themselves, and of course your top 4, very strong performance. This was no easy bracket. I will say though, to kind of make it all full circle, I still think the EU match between Starks and oh my gosh, who was the other one? I said it earlier. Gullywomp.
Yeah.
That was probably the best match. So Ketchup, you were absolutely correct. I don't think that there was one match here tonight that could have beaten that one. So EU, you take it this time. EU
is consistently very fun to watch. I love watching the EU players. They're all so cool. I'm actually jealous that I didn't get to commentate Mirko coming back. I haven't seen for a while. But, I mean, congratulations, of course, to both of our champions. We're both through North America and Europe. It's been a long day of Mortal Kombat. And, of course, there's plenty of days left in the future. If you want to be a part of this, these are all starting from open brackets. You can go to compete.playstation.com. Speaking of things that Ketchup always says, it always says it's the one-stop shop for everything competitive in PlayStation tournaments. And it truly is. You can sign up for tournaments for not just, of course, Mortal Kombat, but there's plenty of other fighting games. Like there's Street Fighter stuff coming up, which we'll talk about in a moment. There's Tekken. There's of course DNF Duel, which we were talking about earlier in the day. Just got a huge patch, so I'm a big fan of that game. I highly suggest anybody tries it out. I think a lot of NRS players as well would do very, very well and enjoy that game. It's got a lot of very similar systems, so be sure to go there. You can sign up either there for the tournaments, or you can sign up on your consoles. There's just a whole bunch of different things that you can do with compete.playstation.com.
And then, of course, remember that there are opportunities to connect with the community. You can go ahead and check out the PlayStation Tournaments Community Discord. You're going to find updates not only on esports events, but articles, videos, and again, you get to meet some cool people that are in your community as well. Listen, when we were starting off in the fighting game, I remember, these old bones remember. I say that as I'm like very young still, right? But we were trying to hunt down those discords, and now PlayStation Tournaments has made it a lot easier for us.
Well, let me say, you know, back when I started, Discord wasn't even a thing. So I'm pretty old now. I go back pretty far, but yes, it's very, very nice to be able to get that easy access. Like, hey, if you want to be a part of this community, just join. And let me say, a lot of these players are absolutely incredible as far as like kind of cheering for each other. I remember back when we were doing Mortal Kombat Pro competition, we had some of like our players that would meet in NA. They were in different regions of Pro competition, and they were cheering on each other in each other's matches. It was very cool to see because they knew that everybody kind of came from the same community. But another thing that you can be a part of in this community, which I'm very excited for, is we've got Street Fighter 6 PlayStation Cup coming up. This has been my main game actually since its release. I am absolutely in love with this game. You can register now. It's going to be on PS5 and PS4. That's going to be a really big deal. There are some tournaments running on PS5. There are some that have been PS4 only, but to be on both, that's a pretty big thing. You can see the links down there. It's a very long link. I think I'm going to read it for funsies. play.esl.gaming.com/streetfighter/SF6-PlayStation-Cup. I was told I didn't have to read that entire link, but I decided that, you know, I was going to get one opportunity. I'm taking it.
And absolutely, and as a reminder, as we get closer and closer, you be sure to tune into the finals of that Street Fighter PlayStation Cup. I mean, it's awesome. Let's celebrate some Street Fighter 6. And of course, Wonder Chef, it has been a pleasure to commentate tonight for some Mortal Kombat 11 action. I got to check out the EU catch-up. I'm glad I can get to close out with the NA side with you. And of course, thank you, of course, for being awesome, as always.
Oh no, I'm so happy that I get to be here. Huge shout outs to Ketchup as well. Someone that I've done a lot of these with, and I know that we both had a great time today. But that's going to be it for us now. Of course, like I said, compete up PlayStation.com if you want to sign up for any more of these, or just see when the next ones are. There are so many different tournaments for so many different games, but that's the close out here for Mortal Kombat 11 here at the PlayStation Tournaments Fight Nights. Thank you all for watching. Congratulations once again to King Gambler, our champion, and we'll see you all next time.
PlayStation